All right, before we get into the particulars, I'm going to give you the starting lineup. So it's Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, Taylor Hall, with Matt Grzelcyk and Charlie McAvoy, David Krejci, Pavel Zacha, David Pastrnak, with Hampus Lindholm and Brandon Carlo. It's Tri Coyle, Trent Frederick, Craig Smith, Leona Kapanen, Nick Foligno, and AJ Greer, with Derek Forbort and Connor Clifton on the back end defense, with Linus Ullmark in goal for the Boston Bruins. They're 38-5-4. And for the Tampa Bay Lightning, it sounds like this: Brayden Point, Brandon Hagel, Nikita Kucherov, with Victor Hedman and Zach Bogosian, Steven Stamkos, Alex Killorn, Anthony Cirelli, Mikhail Sergachev, and Nicholas Perbix. It's Nick Paul, Ross Cole, and Pat Maroon, with Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, Vlad Nemestikov, and Corey Perry, with Ian Cole and Eric Chernak on the back-end defense, with the big cat, Andrei Vasilevsky. And Alec, what are we expecting in this one as Tampa sits 30-15-1? They've won 10 in a row at home. They're one away from the franchise record, but Boston Bruins just keep making franchise records.
Oh, you mentioned franchise records. They're chasing history this season. When we look at the Lightning, they have won 10 straight at home. The Bruins are looking to end that and win their 7th straight game. And when we look at the Lightning, we're looking at their power play. Usually they've been electric. They have the third best power play in the league. So they're going up against the top penalty killing unit in the league. However, this Lightning power play has been on a slump as of late. They recently scored their first power play goal in their last 5 games. They went 1 for 17 in their last in the same amount span in their last 17 opportunities. So we're going to see something about a man advantage turnaround for Tampa Bay. And look for them to shake up the lineups, possibly in the top 6. We've seen this in their last game against Minnesota, when he put Steven Stamkos with Brayden Point and Nikita Kucherov. They generated 1 goal on the 5-on-5, and that's something to look out for. And they'll want to build on that once again to look to get their and build on their 4th highest goals per game, which stands at 3.6 goals per game.
That's a very good outlook by you. When you think about it with Tampa Bay and Boston, you could pretty much mix and match any of these forwards if you're not getting the results that you want to, because as you said, that Tampa Bay power play is very unlightning-like. So here's the stat of the day. I'm sure that it's going to be repeated throughout the broadcast, but let's just soak this in. So the Bruins became the fastest team in league history to reach 80 points, needing just 47 games to get to that marker. The other 2 teams needed 49. It was the 43-44 Canadiens and the 1979-80 Philadelphia Flyers. That's how good the Boston Bruins have been this season.
Very much so. It's very much impossible to be this good in every statistical category, whether it be offense, defense, goaltending, special teams, but the Bruins found a way to do it. And Linus Ullmark, he has been having such big numbers: 1.82 goals against average, .93 save percentage, 25-2-1 is his current record. On paper, that's a better season than Igor Shesterkin. But the difference is Ullmark hasn't had the workload that Shesterkin has. But
Sure.
It's still impressive nonetheless, the season that Ullmark has been having.
When you think about it, Alec, right, was it only just a few seasons ago that Linus Ullmark was property of the Buffalo Sabres, and look what he's turned into now.
It's amazing when you think about that. Plus, I have to check again what the contract he is on right now and see his cap hit. So let's see about this. Ullmark currently has a cap hit of $5 million a year, which is about $500,000 less than Shesterkin, what he's currently on. If I can check again, and that is just $666,667 $1,000 less than the current cap hit by Shesterkin. So I imagine Shesterkin's going to get a big payday in the future, but Ullmark's season, wow.
Yeah, so Allmark right now, he's got a no trade clause. For the next couple of years, it'll kick in. He's got 2 more years of 10 million. He's got 2 more years left on that contract. You got to think the Boston Bruins are very happy with what they have. On the other side, I know he's not playing today, but Jeremy Swayman hasn't had those same type of numbers. So when you look at it for Allmark, that's exactly what Boston needed, but not to this extent. I mean, like you said, 182 goals against and a 938 save percentage. And what's mind-boggling to me is we're only a couple minutes away from puck drop here, as I say, officially 2:55. He's only got 2 shutouts. We did the game the other day, and it was Darcy Kemper had 5, and his goals against was about 2.6, and this guy's at 1.82. So we understand what Boston can bring on the defensive end. When you're thinking about Hampus Lindholm, how does this sound? Plus 34 in the back end defense, but still, you got to give Linus Ullmark full marks. As you said, Alec may not have the same type of workload as the top tier goalies, but he's playing better than any of the top tier goalies this season.
Yeah, and you mentioned top tier goalies. They're matched up against another top tier goalie, Andrei Vasilevskiy. This season for Vasilevskiy, it's pretty much not Vasilevskiy-like as you would expect it to be. 2.54 goals against average and a .917 save percentage. So that can be attributed to the slow start that Tampa Bay has been having earlier in the season, but they've been hot ever since.
Yes, they have. And you also got to think, too, Alec, maybe this is just projections on my part with all the extra hockey that Tampa Bay has played over the years. And let's be honest, the 3 straight playoff runs to the Cup finals, Andrei Vasilevskiy's played every game of those during that time.
I wonder if that's starting to catch up to him as of late, but who knows?
Yeah, because Brian Elliott in the regular season, to be honest with everybody, has been good. But you have to be able to spell Vasilevskiy a little bit as he's getting close to them. I think he's 29 years old now. But I think the tread on those tires for as big as he is, the big cat, as he's affectionately called. Look, 254 goals against and 917. You hit it. It's not Vasilevskiy-like, but at the same time, Alec, it's one of those situations where it's still pretty damn good nonetheless. And that's what Tampa is going to expect. But they know, as you said, going forward into the season, that the big cat's going to get things in gear. So I think this is going to be an excellent matchup. And the way that this has gone over the last week, I'll say for myself, between the Monday to Thursday side now, it seems like every game that I've taken this week has been an absolute banger. And yesterday's game between the basketball side of the Warriors and Grizzlies came down to a 1-second layup by Jordan Poole. So it would be sad if this is the game that ends up being the stinker, but I don't think so, Alec. I think we're going to have a good contest in the Atlantic Division on our hands.
Yeah, the Bruins, they have a comfortable lead. They're leading up by 12 points against the second-place team in the entire NHL in the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Tampa Bay Lightning on the other side, they're a top 10, maybe top 5 team. I have to check the standings once again, but if I can see this correctly, a top 10 team in the league. They're right behind Winnipeg and Dallas for that 5 spot, just 4 points behind them. But when they're at their best, they can be a top 5 team in the league. And frankly, they're just third place in the Atlantic because they're that deep. The Atlantic Division is so deep.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. At the same time, when you have Boston just dwarfing everybody in the point total standings, it makes you take a double take, but you're right. Everybody in the Atlantic is that deep, and everybody in the East, for that, frankly, is incredibly deep. So if you're not getting on those certain type of runs, look, it's 30, 15, and 1 for Tampa, and they're the 3rd seed. So again, that speaks to everything because Toronto is always strong in the regular season. So I'm seeing it in front of me now, Alec. It's Linus Ullmark and it's Andrei Vasilevskiy. If you want to take some of the call, you can take it. If not, I'll take it the whole way through again. I'm just happy to have you on this play-by-play and color side. But I am very much looking forward to this matchup right now. What I do see on the ice is the jerseys that I don't like, which is those reverse retro things for Tampa. I really don't like the font on those. It makes it hard to call some of these player names, so I have to keep very astute on my 4 eyes here, as it's Brandon Hagel going to get set to take the draw. And we're underway. So we're at Amalie Arena right now between Boston and Tampa. We got 2 of the beasts in the East right now in perspective as the slap shot goes wide. Picked up now by Zach Bogosian as this is spun around the kick play for Ross Colton. So we'll do the 3rd line mix here for John Cooper to start. And we'll see the way this game's going to go, Alec, because these 2 teams, they can be physical and nasty too on top of the tremendous skill. So Maroon out of Nick Paul. Nick Paul is just holding this away. from the Boston defense toward the right side red line in the first about 40 seconds of this game has been all Tampa since they've won the faceoff. They're trying to keep this in and keep possession as Bogosian will spin this back around the kick plate, try to get it back, but Trent Frederick canceled them off. And now Boston can attempt to go right to left across your radio dial. As this is dumped down, it touches the stick of the Big Cat. And we'll get this back to Victor Hedman, all 6'5" of them. You can always tell an imposing threat. Not the same numbers that he's used to in the regular season, but the plus minus in defense is still there. Just not all the same offensive numbers you would expect. This is played toward an open right wing, where it's Charlie McAvoy now. Stamkos trying to bother him. It's a race for the puck, but it's not going to be won by Kucherov as Grizzly just knocks it away. Boston can't get out of their own end just yet, but they'll flip it across the red line as players come together to the bench. And a backhand pass a little bit hopeful that Tampa will intercept. Vasilevsky's won his last 8 starts at home, and Stamkos on a 9-game point streak. Stamkos and Kucherov have been on a heater over the last few games. You got to watch out for them. As this is dumped back down the ice to Mikhail Sergachev, got that 7-year deal in the offseason, very much deserved, alongside with Eric Chernak. As this is picked up by Taylor Hall. He's on the second line for Jim Montgomery's squad. Brad Marchand will flip this, and Vasilevsky will make the save short side of the glove.
And one thing of note I wanted to point out before this game, Jack Edwards went up to apologize to Pat Maroon for his early remarks in a previous game between the Bruins and Lightning. The thing is, it was reported that it did not go well. So one thing to note, fat shaming is no joke. Please don't do it, everyone.
And no, not against Pat Maroon nonetheless. Jack Edwards is known around the league unaffectionately as one of the worst play-by-play men, even for Boston standards. A lot of them don't like him. Very cocky in the booth as far as when it comes to Boston. Look, we can understand how good they are, but call the game the way it's supposed to be called, and I will leave it at that from what we know about Jack Edwards. So Hampus Lindholm puts this in deep. And now Nick Paul will try to get a piece of it. Patrice Bergeron is in there as well. Very physical in behind the office of the Big Cat as Taylor Hall gets knocked down on his heavily padded wallet. And this is picked up now in between the lightning bolt, where Brad Marchand will go back to get it. Anthony Cirelli also out there as well. Again, it's just been a few games for Cirelli since coming back from the injury nonetheless. So he's going to sit on the second line. And as I would expect as the season goes, Alec, his numbers will continue to climb north. 17-25 left to go in this first. One shot apiece thus far between Tampa and Boston as we get a hybrid ice.
And Tampa really needs Cirelli to be on that second line alongside Alex, Killorn, and Steven Stamkos. They really need his defensive presence. They've been missing it for possibly the first half of this season, or the first third of it. And now that he's back in the lineup, he can be the effective two-way forward that the Lightning want him and need him to be.
Totally agree with you. Most wins since 2012 between these two teams. How about this stat? It's courtesy of Valley Sports Florida. 478 since 2012 for Tampa, 474 for Boston at that point. So that tells you these guys have had the staying power over the league. As Jim Montgomery's first season as Bruins head coach, right, 38-5-4. You're going to take that 851 points percentage. Ridiculous. So this will get picked up here for Connor Clifton. Third line's out there for Jim Montgomery's squad. And Bogosian will get a piece and put this all the way down for Andre Vasilevsky. Play this with the goal stick and just chop at it. As this is picked up momentarily by Tampa and Corey Perry as this goes back to Zach Bogosian. Victor Hedman. Good outlet pass for Victor Hedman. Is going to spring Corey Perry. We'll see what he does with it off the back skate. Try to find Vlad Nemestikov. Not having the greatest season. We still got 1 year left on this deal. He can be a free agent right after. As Bogosian will get to it toward the right side wall. Put it around the net as it gets sent to the blue paint, but nobody was there. And now Tampa still on this thing. They've had a lot of puck possession right now early in this first period. See if they can do anything with it. This will get sent back around by Bogosian. Try to get collected by Perry as Derek Forbert sitting on the doorstep. Tampa holds this in, looking for the slap pass. That wasn't a shot. It was trying to get sent toward Perry to put it toward the goal, but it went wide. Picked up now by Tampa once more. They hold it toward the right side blue line. Picked up short side toward the left side red line now. A shot gets fought out there by Ullmark. It's loose toward the left circle. Picked up by Tampa a fourth time. And now Boston finally gets this out. A battle near the red line. Boston will collect. Will drop this right off. Big save by the Big Cat, as that could have been Pastrnak. And now Grizzly tries to get this out in front. And now Tampa can maybe get to this. It'll be a 3-on-2 if they can, but this will go back to the Bees, and they'll settle it down. Matt Grzelcyk makes this long outstretched pass as it's picked off now by David Krejci and dumped down the ice by Tampa. Boston trying to get it out of their defensive zone as Charlie McAvoy lost it toward the right side wall as this goes back now to Grzelcyk. Collected in between Pastrnak, and players just come together right now into the defensive zone here for the Boston Bruins as Grzelcyk will try to knock this out of the air, collect toward the red line, try to catch Hampus Lindholm off the backhand. He makes a great entry and a good-looking shot, but Cat will solve this one with the pads.
Not a lot of zone entries, not a lot of offense generated from those chances. Well, Tampa has some good zone time. They tried to crash the back of the net, and one of those shots that was blocked. The others were either missing the net or they couldn't bank that in off of Omar. And the other side, you got, I think it was David Pastrnak who had that one of those shots, and Vasilevsky turned that one away. Tampa trying to get some zone time in, and possibly for the first goal of this game, both goalies so far have been standing up tall.
Yes, they have. There's been a lot of puck possession, as Alec said. We're just waiting to get some of these primo opportunities that these two teams can provide. But you also have some of the premier puck stoppers in this game. So something will have to give as Alex Killorn will play this off the backhand side. This will go back D-to-D, and the shot goes right at the white wall as this is picked up here by the Lightning one more time. Hampus Lindholm will try to send this to the defensive partner. This is actually the center and Charlie Coyle as Boston makes some great play to put this out in front, and Taylor Hall gets bodied off by Ian Cole. And now this will be reset back up by Tampa as they're going to have a little goal chat there with Andrei Vasilevsky. They'll usually take their time on these breakouts and let their forward get the change. We saw that a lot during the Stanley Cup Finals when they played against the Colorado Avalanche. They are very meticulous with the puck. 14:20 left to go in this first. John on here with him, play-by-play, joined by Alec, Nava on colors. 3 shots to goal on 1 in favor of Boston, but no goals just yet, as you would expect. Victor Hedman, nice bank pass alongside the boards, and this will go back here to Kucherov, now back to Hedman. Hedman will gain the entry across the red line as the refs generously keep that one on the onside call. It wasn't across the red line just yet, but Colton's shot. This gets bounced out in front, maybe picked up by Tampa. A good stick check ahead as Nick Paul will try to keep this alive. And a slap shot gets whistled toward the right side of the glass. It goes all the way back down the ice. So this will be a chance for the defense one more time on Tampa's side to check back up and get things going. They're going left to right in this first period. Vladimir Mestikov almost overskates it. He safely clears across the red line with Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. Matt Grzelcyk also out there as well for Boston as they'll play this pass off the right side wall. Here's a race for the puck. Partially there is Tampa, one of the Boston players, but this goes back in Tampa's end one more time, and they'll flip this all the way down across the Bolts logo. It's a race for the puck right now. Corey Perry beat one of the Boston Bruins to it, but his shot went wide toward the left side of the glass. Now here's a chance for Boston. Gain the entry as Nick Foligno gets canceled off the puck, and Tampa will take their time once more across the defensive end. Outstretched pass goes back to Boston as they'll settle this back up. Very fortuitous start here, very slow, as this is picked up now by Pasta, but he can be one of those game breakers. Off the toe drag, keeps it alive the right side wall, and no rebound to be had as Vasilevsky makes the save.
David Pastrnak as a goal scorer, but he's such an underrated passer. Here he finds this man waiting at the right circle for a one-timer. Andrei Vasilevsky took care of that. Corey Perry on the other side, even though he may be a fourth liner, don't count him out. He's still an agitator that Tampa has. And even though he's lost 3 straight Stanley Cups, he still has that Stanley Cup championship experience back in 2007 with the Anaheim Ducks. And he's what the Lightning need in their bottom 6. That veteran leadership that they need.
Yeah, he provides the sandpaper, so to speak, does he not, Alec, in the sense of everything that you have to have in the veteran leadership, as you said. I want to make the point earlier and bring about what you talked about with David Pastrnak. 37 goals, 32 assists, can deliver everything with the 69 points, and a staggering plus 28, although because Boston's done very well, maybe the plus minus are exaggerated, but the big question is, does David Pastrnak sign in the offseason with the Boston Bruins? But I have to believe they're Alec. They're going to do their very best to make sure these contract talks are already underway, so he's going to be going nowhere. That would be my guess.
And I could see him possibly getting around the range that Artemi Panarin is currently getting, around $11 million a year, based on how he is currently playing. That is a hefty contract that Panarin has over at the Rangers. And I don't think it's out of the question that Pastrnak could see that contract of that caliber.
And you would say, let's say we have, Marchand, Bergeron, some of the other guys that have been there, David Krejci. When you think about David Pastrnak, Alec, he is the best forward that the Boston Bruins have, correct, in your estimation?
Yes, he's their best goal scorer, and yes, he's their best forward, best point scorer as well. He has 69 points in 47 games, 28 on the plus-minus rating, second on the team, behind only Hampus Lindholm. And Lindholm's a second-pairing defenseman. Currently, if Charlie McAvoy's on that first pairing. And but Pastrnak, he is what the Bruins need. He is what the Bruins want. They want to keep their goal scoring up. He, David Krejci, and Pavel Zacha fighting that chemistry on that second line. A very dangerous line out on the ice.
Yeah, and considering they got Pavel Zacha all signed up now, all you really got to do is get Pastrnak there. So I agree with you. I think that's going to happen sooner rather than later. You don't want to stand the test of times and not have him in the lineup, because I think this Boston's Bruins team, for as good as they are, look very different. Slap shot, and was that stopped by Omar? Did he get all the way over and just rob Nikita Kucherov?
He flashed the letter on him. It's a tough angle shot from Nikita Kucherov. Oh my goodness, Linus Omar, are you kidding me? Flashing the letter on him. Wait, I think this was blocked off of Hampus Lindholm, and Kucherov had an open net, but I thought Omar had that one. It went out of play, but that was quite the shot from Kucherov. And finding himself that open and with that wide of a net.
That was interesting, because I thought the pass initially would have been a shot in the slot. They sent over Kucherov, but that was a great block there by Hampus Lindholm. We had to double check that one, because I think even if it hit the goaltender, like Alex said, I think it was going to be stopped by Omar, as this is picked up now and between the middle of the red line and sent back. It'll be David Pastrnak. Try to get a piece of it. As this will go back to Tampa, they'll gain the entry left to right. Picked up now by the defense of Boston. And now Eric Chernak will try to collect this. Bergeron goes all the way back. He always has that 200-foot game. He's always in the running for Selke Trophy. Doesn't matter what his age is. He's always one of the best forwards defensively that you can have in the league. As Marchand will come together.
Trophies, he's looking for 6.
That is absolutely ridiculous, my friend. And that tells you how good he is. As this is picked up now by Nick Paul. Nick Paul will spin around. He was the pickup from the Ottawa Senators at the trade deadline, and he's been a pretty good one. This gets intercepted, though, as Taylor Hall going to take his time looking for a rebound shot. That gets fought off by the Big Cat. Spin around off the wraparound attempt, and Vasilevsky going to hold on as Trent Frederic gets a shot from behind the back.
And normally Taylor Hall plays on this third line for Boston with Trent Frederic and Charlie Coyle. Each of these 1-3 lines having chemistry with one another. Jake DeBrusk is currently still dealing with his injury as he's still on the IR. And he's normally on that top line with Brad Marchand and Patrice Bergeron. He still has that hand injury. Taylor Hall taking his place on the top line. But at times, he's on that third line. I questioned at first why Taylor Hall was on the third line to begin with. But this top 6 is so stacked that you can put Taylor Hall anywhere on this lineup.
That's what makes them absolutely so scary between both of the sides. The face-off is won there by Boston. A shot gets flipped to the right side boards by Pasta and now collected as Boston will try to get this. The referee's got to try to get out of the way as well as this goes back to the D. Nice move by Pasta as he picked up on the blue line side. Still keeping with it. Stays on sides off the forehand, trying to keep this alive to the right side wall. And Tampa has it now. Stamkos will send it back. We'll see if he goes back to a change or if he just gets back toward the middle of the ice. Stamkos still out there. He's riding on the onside part toward the right wing, and it gets sent down. Stamkos will get to it. He'll chop at it, trying to get around Pavel Zacha. Now Kucherov, got to be dangerous. Watching out for him. Backhand shot off the rebound opportunity. That's 2 stops by Allmark off the slapper and the wrist, and now it's a 2-on-2 the other way for Boston. That was a nice feathery pass by Pastrnak, but it went just wide, and this will get picked up here by Tampa, as they can try to settle things down. It's 6-4 in favor of the Bees. We're almost at the halfway point of this fast-moving first period. Good touch pass there for Trent Frederic. He'll just fire one on This one goes into the netting and on a play. 10:07 in the first.
And you saw one of those line mix-up by Tampa on their offensive opportunity. They put Anthony Cirelli with Steven Stamkos and Nikita Kucherov. So they switched Alex Killorn in the lineup and putting Cirelli with Stamkos and Kucherov. That gets a chance going for Tampa Bay. And Cirelli on the other side, wonderful defense on David Pastrnak to deny a chance for Boston on that first opportunity right at their face-off.
So Patrice Bergeron cannot win the draw, and this goes back down to Eric Chernak. Cirelli will take his time and make this pass toward the right side wall, but this is going to be iced. So Boston is going to have some personnel they can change. Tampa cannot, as it's 9:57 in the first.
Brayden Hagel's now on the ice, and he's been doing wonders for Tampa Bay this season. What a wonderful job by Julian Breezewine acquiring him from Chicago in last year's trade deadline. And he's normally on the ice with Brayden Point and Nikita Kucherov. Such wonderful chemistry that they've been having together, and that development is what's been key for Hagel to break out into the top six.
So Patrice Bergeron still get a chance to take this draw, get a chance to do this one more time, and get another shot on goal. As this is kept for Taylor Hall, that's softly brushed aside by the left pad of Andrei Vasilevsky. And we're getting a penalty call, and I'm going to see who this is going to be on.
I think this could be on Boston.
We're going to pull up that, I believe. You are correct on that side. We'll see what this happens when we get to. We're going to commercial break with 9:48 in the first. So Brad Marchand will be going to the box. That'll put the Lightning on the power play. And again, as we talked about in the open, and Alec, you put that out so eloquently. We'll see if they can get some chances and what lines they mix. We know what Boston can provide, and we know what Allmark is, but Tampa Bay's power play needs to get going if they want to try to get 11 straight at home.
Yeah, they're chasing 11 straight at home and trying to hold off Boston from winning their 7th straight. They need to get the power play going. Last game was their first power play goal in their last 5 games, as I mentioned in the pregame. And they're going to put that first unit, of course, no doubt, of Nikita Kucherov, Stamkos, Point, Hagel, and I don't know who the defenseman is, because at times I saw Mikhail Sergachev as the power play quarterback for the top unit. Other times I saw Victor Hedman as the top power play unit's quarterback. So it's interesting to note who is going to be sent out there. I think Sergachev, he's living up to his new contract that he signed recently of 8 years and being paid more than Hedman, interestingly.
Yeah, they wanted to get out in front of that one early, Alec, but as you know, we talked about at the trade deadline show when I did this with Cooper Hopkins, we said the number was probably high. I agree with you on that side, Alec, but at the same time, if you have something and you have your core and you have your young players, you know you can lock them up now. You do that because you know down the line the salary cap might be going up a little bit. They say next year it'll hit the $1 million marker and go up $1 million more. And they're projecting over the next, I believe, 3 or 4 seasons to go about 4 or 5. And I got to look as we come back from the break. It was Brad Marchand got the stick right up in the mouth of Ian Cole. So he's going to sit in the sin bin here. I believe it's just going to be a 2-minute minor from everything that I saw.
So the Lightning boast the third-ranked power play in the league. Though they have been in a rut as of late, they're going up against the top-ranked penalty killing unit in the league. So this is a true test for the Tampa Bay Lightning on going up against one of the top penalty killing units in the league to see if they can crack open in the score sheet.
Steven Stamkos set to take the draw against Patrice Bergeron. The Lightning are on the power play as this is picked up now by Kucherov. We'll try to send this out front, and now Hagel will spin this around. But Kucherov is not the first to get to it because it hits a Boston stick, goes all the way down the big cat. And Tampa's first power play now down to 1:40 by the time they get back up the ice here, at least to the neutral zone. 7 shots to 5 in favor of the Bees. No score just yet. As this is picked up by Hagel, he made a great move. He could have shot it. He elected to pass instead. Set it out in front and scores! It works out for Brandon Hagel. 1-0 Tampa.
Right on cue. Brandon Hagel right in front of that, and that's exactly what we needed from this Tampa Bay power play. Of course, they've been in a rut, but even those are the biggest of slumps, they're about to end soon. Just their second power play goal in as many games. With Brandon Hagel right in front of that. Normally, you'd expect Steven Stamkos to score from OV's office. get the cookies, as Rick Jenneret would say it.
Well, you know what was great about that? When I called the initial pass, what I didn't expect 2 passes later was Brandon Hagel to work his way, never stop moving, get in front of the net. Ullmark was left on an island with Brandon Hagel. Nobody picked him up, and he scores the first goal of the game. So the Lightning take the lead on their 6th shot. Boston's got 7, but now they're down. They've been down before, but the thing with Boston is they can stay within 2 and then kind of make a surge. We know Tampa is a different animal, but thankfully, as Alec said, you think about it, they got to feel good having a power play goal and the back pocket to start things. As picked up here from Hampus Lindholm off the cross pass, and we'll get it back one more time as Boston try to get right to left. Good job by Lindholm off the windmill deep to try to buy some space. Battle for the puck to force it to Pat Maroon as that got picked off, and now Boston might have a chance off the slapper, and that goes wide, left side of the glass. Try to get collected now by Pat Maroon. Maroon will hold in between 3 Boston Bruins, get the pass across. Tampa gets it sent down. This might touch the goal stick of Linus Ullmark. He's going to play it quickly to Matt Grzelcyk, and we'll try to transition here. So Boston down 1. It's 1-0 Tampa, courtesy of a Brandon Hagel goal. That was a beautiful one at that. David Krejci looking for a cross pass, easily defended there by Tampa. Now they'll try to transition the other way. A couple poke checks ahead. Good steal. Pasta off a no-look backhand. You got to watch out for that, I guess, as this is picked up now by Pasta. He'll just put it toward the left side walls. It'll go D to D. Grzelcyk get it down deep in the office of the Big Cat. Still held nicely there by Pasta. He looked for a pass and it actually bounced, I believe, off of Corey Perry down the ice. Grzelcyk, we'll get to it. We'll just rattle this around the embankment now to Pavel Zacha, former New Jersey Devil. Good pickup in the offseason at the trade deadline. Tampa will get a flip. Now they'll try to get into the neutral zone now toward the left side red line. Good entry. Now toward the left side dot. Holding is Steven Stamkos. Stamkos still stays on the forehand side with Killorn. His shot gets blockered off as Stamkos actually went in the blue paint trying to provide a screen. Boston. Now we'll try to get this out of their own end. Almost kept in by Cirelli. Both off to pull back and maybe get some changes. This gets dumped in now to Derek Forbert. Derek Forbert, I believe, was on the Winnipeg Jets over the last couple seasons, and now it's Taylor Hall. He's going to gain the entry. 1-on-3, he goes for the wrist shot, falls down in the seat of his pants, and this gets picked up here by Brad Marchand, but it can't be held in. Goes all the way back down here for Boston, and they'll get a chance one more time to set up here. Killorn will spin around with Charlie Coyle. Coyle now for Lindholm. Lindholm will hold. And he'll try to skate this one across as this gets dumped in there by Bergeron. And that took a fortuitous bounce that Vasilevsky actually had to make the save on from about 100 feet. He plays the puck, and now this goes back to Boston. Excuse me if that caught me off guard for a minute. As this gets picked up now by Boston and now overskated. Boston goes back in their own end with Charlie McAvoy as they'll spin now into the neutral zone toward the red line side. Good move. Try to get some open space there as Pavel Zacha gets canceled off on the left side with AJ Greer. And now this goes behind the net of the Big Cat. Tampa will have it. We played a little possession back and forth over the last 4 or 5 minutes after that Brandon Hagel goal. As it's kind of got back to the first period where there was a little bit of stick in the mud and waiting for something to happen as Vlad Nemestikov has this toward the right side of the wall. It gets toward the cage of Ullmark and then collected by Boston as Nick Foligno. Send this one down. Now it's Vasilevsky. And now there's a fight. They're cutting it over between Corey Perry. And we'll see if this can actually get started. Corey Perry's got one overhand right as helmet comes off as Connor Clifton trying to get a piece of him. Now Connor Clifton with a huge overhand right and knocks down Perry, and that's going to end the fight.
This one's over right in the blink of an eye. Connor Clifton on Corey Perry as he judo flips him. I mean, normally you expect Corey Perry to win these kinds of fights given how much of an agitator he is. 49 penalty minutes for him so far in the season. Now this brings his total up to 54. The man, Connor Clifton, can't underestimate him, and neither can you underestimate his 5'11", 175 stature. He may be a little small. He may be one of the smaller guys on the ice, but he has a big heart.
Yes, he does, and I'm glad that you mentioned that with the fight side because I was trying to get some of the play-by-play stuff in, and then it cut a little late there, so I'm glad we got a couple of the definitive results. There was a good punch there by Perry, but we'll end up seeing what happens if there's going to be more of this. I was going to ask you in the opening side before we hit the puck drop there, Alec, if we were going to see some of this. I think we might see a little bit more. These two teams know where they are in the standings. We know they're two heavyweights in the Atlantic, and as we'd expect, Cooper or Alec, you think in the same time, in the sense of these two teams are probably going to be in the postseason, and they're probably going to win a couple of rounds. They might see each other again.
We could see this as a possible second-round preview, unless if the Maple Leafs win a playoff series,
right,
which is not out of the question, but this could be a possible second-round preview between these two teams. They both met in the second round in their last two playoff meetings, 2018 and 2020, with the Lightning winning both of them each in 5 games. They met one time before, that's the 2011 Eastern Conference Final, the year when the Bruins won the Cup. That was a 7-game series, and one of those games in that series, there were no penalties at all. How often do you see a game in the playoffs where there were no penalties at all? Not often.
No, that is something that is very, very rare. You get in a rarefied air when you get toward the later rounds of the playoffs, as they say that the referees like to swallow the whistles, but no penalties at all between these two teams. I couldn't imagine that ever happening again. So I think what started this is we get back into the replays a little bit was Corey Perry got cross-checked in his own end, and he just went to the players' bench. He was like, "You want to go?" And Corey Perry says yes, and they just started feeding a couple of fists. Corey Perry got the definitive one with the overhand right. As we get another look at it with Connor Clifton, he was being held toward the left side glass, but good-looking fight nonetheless. And Corey Perry was talking with Connor Clifton the whole way through, and now they're still talking into the penalty box as well.
And I think Perry thinks that Clifton got away with that cross-check before that fight.
I think he did, to be honest with you. That was pretty clear what he wanted to do. I think Corey Perry draws a lot of ire under people's skin. So this is picked up now off of the offensive zone draw. And now Grzelcyk will get this one across. As this gets dumped in here now by Boston. Trying to get picked up here by David Krejci. First line's out there right now. As this is sent back here for Jim Montgomery's squad. This goes D to D to Matt Grzelcyk. This gets fought off by the goal stick of the Big Cat. It's now 9 shots to 7 in favor of Boston, but Brandon Hagel got on the goal sheet first, and we'll give you the primary and tertiary assist in a moment. We get a stoppage. As this is picked up now, Kucherov will flip it all the way down the ice. See if this is going to be iced. No, it's not. So Matt Grzelcyk will play it. Gets picked up now toward the left side red line. Good zone entry. Now it's Pastrnak again. Look at him dance with that puck. Off the backhand sauce, it was a blind one. Set up a wraparound opportunity. Unbelievable pass there by Pastrnak. And now Brandon Carlo has to get back on his horse to go ahead and get this one as it finds the stick of Hampus Lindholm. Bergeron. This pass gets canceled off at one of the active sticks. I believe that was Hagel. And now he gains the turnover. Off the backhand side, Tampa's got puck possession, looking for a deflection. That went just wide into the netting.
And I almost thought that was going to be icing because it's the biggest. I thought it was a Tampa Bay player that last touched it. I don't know what caused it to negate the icing because there was a Boston player that was approaching there first. I'm not entirely sure of that.
I agree with you on that side. I thought the first play there by Kucherov would have been iced. You got 4:26 left in the first, and you got to be careful with that because I think there was a play in the Stanley Cup Finals where Nick Paul thought he got to an icing. Colorado ended up scoring in the sequence after, and that's in the Cup Final. In a regular season game, it's a little bit different, but at the same time, you got these two teams against each other that don't want to give an inch. You get a goal out of that, somebody's going to get upset. So offensive zone draw, and now we have the play blown dead. About 4:20 left in the first. Hand pass.
If I was about to point out that felt like a hand pass back there. I don't know who last touched it, but yeah, that was a hand pass.
So I have some of my lineups and stuff in front of me. I usually have the CBS Sports depth chart. It's not appearing here for the Boston Bruins, but I should have a number of the names in my head here. So if I miss out a couple call-outs, I apologize because there's something going on with the website. So picked up into the neutral zone is Kucherov. Ends up getting a piece of this. It actually goes all the way back to Vasilevsky. And now toward the right side wall, Tampa will try to get this out again. As this is picked up now by Tampa. They've had some good forechecking opportunities, but what I've noticed so far in this first period, Alec, is they've done a good job keeping the puck alive along the blue line side from the D to D. Kucherov Nice play under duress as he gets it back for Domestikov. Now Bogosian fires it into the screen. It actually hit Greer as the fourth line sides out there for Jim Montgomery's squad. Now it goes back to Zach Bogosian. Bogosian lost it. Picked up here momentarily by Greer. Tries to stick it ahead. Good work there just to try to get some puck possession. And now under Vasilevsky. That was a dangerous pass in between three of his teammates and one of the Boston Bruins, but they got through it. Now they safely crossed the red line. 10 shots to 7 with 3:20 left to go in the first. Joining within the play-by-play, joined by none other than Alec Nava on the color side. Glad he was able to join me on this side because this should be a prime time matchup between these two teams. So Bruins will try to get the interception toward the left side boards. Nick Paul is also out there with Trent Frederick. This gets flipped. Now canceled off. Charlie Coyle will send this back. Maybe going ahead and get some changes there for some of the Boston forwards as the play is live. This is in the offensive end of the Bruins, but this is collected now by Ross Colton. Ross Colton has an open right wing if he wants it. We'll put this across the right side boards and safely gain the red line. As Pat Maroon will finish his check. Boston will get this out in front now as it's Frederick. He's racing to the left field wall. He's going to chip it himself and go ahead and get a change. This is a little bit gassed. David Krejci knocks down Ross Colton. The puck is loose, but this goes right to Tampa, and they'll just get this one out. Just before Vasilevsky was down trying to make a save, it got brushed away. Grizzly sends it ahead nicely for Zacha, and he rang it off the pipe. But it's still live right now for Tampa, and they'll flip this all the way down the ice. Pavel Zacha was maybe a fraction of an inch off to the left side of the bar. And now into the players' bench. Tampa will collect Stamkos with the outlet pass. He gets this all the way down the right boards as it hits Patrice Bergeron on the embankment. Boston trying to go right to left in this period, but Tampa, again, I noticed they have a lot of this puck possession, even though they haven't had a lot of shots. Chernak will send it in as it gets bounced off Charlie McAvoy. Kucherov, he gets knocked down. Fans want a penalty there, but they're not going to get one. Stamkos will hold. And toward the blue line side, they try to center one out toward the left side post, and that got canceled off by the Bees. Picked up by Tampa in their own end. It's 1:25 left to go in this fast-moving first. Sent down the ice. Olmark will brush this aside with the goal stick. And I think we're getting an icing now, 1:24.
Oh, the fact that Pavel Zacha broke him free for an offensive opportunity. Victor Hedman took a stumble when trying to defend. That's uncharacteristic of Hedman to take a stumble. I think he lost track. I don't know what was the plan there, but Hedman stumbled on that. And Zacha, he was able to move in right with the open ice. Andre Vasilevsky was a step ahead, though. And Vasilevsky keeping the Lightning in this game and keeping this a one-score game. 1-0 with 84 seconds left.
That's a good look by you, Alec. When I saw the secondary replay, it seemed like Hedman was unaware that Zacha was there. One timer, that one was stopped by Vasilevsky. It's loose in the blue paint. I thought they'd blow the whistle. They're jamming away at it now. Stamkos is down on the ice. Vasilevsky does not have his goal stick. We're going to get back to the previous play in a moment, as this is with Derek Forbert. Forbert will spin. Picked up now by Pasta. He's going to send it in toward Vasilevsky smartly. He knows he doesn't have a goal stick. He can't necessarily go get it right now as it's brushed near the left side of the red line. And all of a sudden, this period has started to open up. Good play there in the miss to get it the goal stick back. But now this is a chance for Boston into the pinball. Stopped by the left pad of Vasilevsky again. Things have escalated very quickly. And now we get a stoppage with 40 seconds.
I believe it's going to be a penalty on Ian Cole, but man, that was a great offensive work by the Boston Bruins. David Pastrnak with that first shot. It went sliding through Vasilevsky's 5-hole. He tried to cover it up, but somebody got there first, and Steven Stamkos tried to sit on it in the hopes of trying to drain some clock. And sometimes that's going to be leading to a delay of game penalty if you deliberately sit on the puck. I remember that Ryan Kessler tried doing that in the playoffs in 2015. But Stamkos, that was eerily close to being a goal. There was someone right there, right on the doorstep. Charlie Coyle was right there. And then right behind the net, they were battling for the puck. Steven Stamkos helps Andre Vasilevsky get back his stick. And now this leads up to the penalty for Ian Cole. the Boston Bruins have a chance to tie this on the power play.
Yes, they do. And Alec, I didn't necessarily see it at first, but Andre Vasilevsky might not have felt that puck behind him as that was bleeding through. And Charlie Coyle, as you said, was right on the left side of the red line, just jamming away at it. So now Boston's going to have some power play carryover time if they do not score. 15 seconds left to go in this first. They got a minute 30 officially left to go on the power play. About 10 seconds left in the first now. Hall will gain the entry off the back pass. This is a stick battle, but this might actually be in Boston's favor if they can get a shot off quickly. 2 seconds down to 1, looking for the cross pass instead, and that's going to end the first period. And boy, oh boy, what a period that was. 1-0, courtesy of Brandon Hagel.
And that period started to heat up right at the tail end of it. If you remember that quick shot right out the face-off, and then it went right behind Vasilevsky. Fortunately for the Lightning, it circled on wide. Steven Stamkos tried running out that clock. And then Patrice Bergeron, I believe he was looking for the centering pass to one of his guys. A perfect cutoff to deny a shot on goal on that last part. And deny a shot on goal in the final 2 seconds of it. And the defenseman couldn't get the shot off.
I can tell you this, Alec. I know it's just the first period, but like I said, I'm very thankful to have you on the broadcast side of it. I think we got a treat. Hopefully the next 40 minutes will be just like that if we don't get more.
So we can take a look around the league for the score sheet. And who else other than Alex Ovechkin netting in the opening goal in that first period between the Penguins and Capitals? Oh my goodness, look at the shots on goal there. 23-8 in the first period alone in favor of Washington between these two teams.
Oh, Casey DeSmith, we talked about it from the previous game that we did. He certainly had the bounce back, right? 22 out of 23 saves, and that's just in the first period for a sparkling .957 save percentage. So Casey DeSmith certainly doing it all to keep Pittsburgh in the game.
He's been standing on his head for the entire first period, and for a game in which he allowed 6 goals previously, Letang had 4 points, one an even strength goal, another an even strength assist, another being a power play assist, and the last one being both a power play goal and an overtime winner. First defenseman to do that in franchise history, all in one game as well.
That's crazy for considering how long that he has been there and be able to do that. I always thought of Chris Letang as one of the best to ever do it. Certainly a Hall of Famer alongside Crosby and Malkin. So that's a great look on, great stats by you. On this other side, I think the only other game that we have in play are the Red Wings and the Canadiens. We'll see who scored for those. Michael Rasmussen with his 9th and Michael Prizzaredia his 3rd, so not a name that I'm familiar with on that side. Jake Allen stopped 9 of 10, and Billy Husso 4 of 5. We'll see what direction these two teams are going to go right now, but it's a 1-1 score after 1. So very glad that we're doing this game instead, all things considered. But if the Pens and Capitals were on at a different time, I'd certainly be flipping that one over. It kind of stinks that I can't get a live look in while we're waiting during the intermission. Any other games cross your mind that are upcoming here, Alec, as far as the schedule slate on this Thursday?
Well, tonight, I know these games aren't really the most exciting of such, but keep an eye out for the Buffalo Sabres and Winnipeg Jets that's coming up soon enough. The Sabres are trying to get into the playoffs for the first time since 2011.
Wow.
The Jets, they're trying to get the Central Division lead. So we'll see how this game goes. The one thing of note, Eric Comrie, who's formerly the backup to Connor Hellebuck on the Winnipeg Jets, he's going to get the start here for the Buffalo Sabres over Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. And on the other side, who else but Hellebuck getting the start for Winnipeg?
Yeah, he's had a remarkable year, and anyone that had to try to pick the Western Conference All-Stars, especially in that central side, when you have Jake Ottinger, you have Connor Hellebuck, it's very, very difficult to do so. And as you mentioned with the Buffalo Sabres on that side, and they've been on a little bit of a heater of late. They're also plus 20 in the differential. They got 53 points in the standings. If they get those two, and let's say Pittsburgh gets the win, or however that one will work, if they still end up with 56 points between Pittsburgh and Washington, my point being is this: the Sabres will only be 1 point away from a wild card spot. When you thought about that maybe a month and a half ago, you thought they'd be dead to rights. Couldn't possibly get there. And also the other thing that Buffalo has in hand over Washington, Washington's going to end the night with 51 games played. Buffalo's going to end the night with 48. So they have games in hand in which to catch them.
So that puts Buffalo in the advantage in the wild card standings if all things considered. Pittsburgh still holding its own. They will be finishing tonight with 48 games played, Washington 51. So Buffalo is hoping that either one of Washington or Pittsburgh go on a slump so that they can make the playoffs for the first time since 2011, as I mentioned. So, man, it's been 12 years since their last appearance. It's insane to think about it. And when you think about that, Ryan Miller was their starting goaltender in those years.
Ryan Miller, he was definitely a showcase whenever he was on the ice. And I think Buffalo might have still been using those Buffalo head black jerseys. I like those. Those are always a good-looking uniform there for Buffalo. On the other side, I think I'll take a look at, because you mentioned the Sabres and the Jets, and that is a good one. The Devils and the Preds will also be at 8 p.m. Eastern. I think the reason why this one could be significant is because the Western Conference is so wide open. The Nashville Predators, if they get that win, they'll be 1 point away from a wild card spot, which many people thought that might be out of the question the way that they've been playing. But the one thing I have to correct from a couple of days ago, I know I corrected it in the story when we talked about it because it's hard to figure this out live. What happened was Colorado got the win over Washington, in which we covered. Essentially, I thought that would put Colorado in the wild card spot. No, it actually put them third in the Central as they caught the Minnesota Wild. So Minnesota sitting out of the wild card at 54 points. 55 is the marker that you need to get right now in the Central. So Minnesota is going to have to start winning some games, and if they can't catch up with Edmonton and Calgary, who've been playing better of late, it's going to be a heck of a battle there in the wild card for this West for the rest of this season, I believe.
The one thing that should note in favor of Minnesota and Colorado, they have 46 games played. Edmonton has 49, Calgary has 48, Nashville 47, and St. Louis 48. So that could work to Minnesota and Colorado's favor when it comes to playoff standings. So Minnesota, they're just 1 point behind Colorado for third in the Central Division. So likely in all likelihood, if either one of these teams does not get a top 3 spot in the Central Division, look for them to possibly get a wild card spot away from either one of Edmonton or Calgary. Though I'd be on the lookout for Edmonton gaining traction. Though I'd be worried about Evander Kane because one time he got scratched because of bankruptcy trials.
Right. And then the other thing too, like you said, with Evander Kane, he's definitely the goal scorer that Edmonton can definitely need. And like you said before, Evander Kane is one of those guys that's not afraid to throw down as well. I think he provides a little bit of grit that Edmonton really needs. You know what you're going to get with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and they're so damn busy with everything else they have to do on offense. You can't expect them to be able to bring that sandpaper side of it. Not that they can't do it, but the element that Evander Kane can bring alongside with some of that goal scoring ability, I think that fits that team perfectly. Evander Kane probably has found his home, I would say, Alec, as far as where he's going to be through his future in Edmonton.
By how he has been playing, I believe he has found his home in Edmonton, particularly on that top 6 with Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, those guys, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Kyler Yamamoto. Do I wonder if Ryan Nugent-Hopkins fitting with Leon Draisaitl would be the best fit for him, or if he fits well with Connor McDavid. Though both these players that he plays with, he can fit well with them.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has had a standout year as well. He was one of those guys, when I had the publication piece done, I said that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has been one of the better Edmonton Oilers. Because, look, we can't name Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. They've already been selected. So I figured we're just going to go ahead and not name the All-Stars because that would be too easy. But he's had a great year. The one forward that they need to get going, and the one forward that he's been a high draft pick as well, was Jesse Puljujärvi. He's been a horrific plus-minus and a player that just hasn't found his footing. Again, it's not really fair of me to say that every single time you get a first-round pick there, Alec, when you have McDavid and Draisaitl, that's always going to work out. But hopefully he can find a new home. But my only question on that side is, what is Ken Holland actually going to expect to get out of somebody like Puljujärvi if he hasn't shown the ability to perform at the NHL level? You want a high price because you drafted him really high, but I don't think it's going to work out that way. But he needs to find a new footing somewhere else. Hopefully he can find one at the deadline.
Yeah, hopefully you can find someone at the deadline to trade for Jesse Puljujärvi. if you're trying to go for the big dogs, possibly you should send some picks on the way. But I don't know how many picks that Ken Holland has. If I can check again for the Edmonton Oilers, let's see. So they do have their first round pick from this year and 2024. They have a second. They have a third. Their fourth is unavailable from this year. There's a fifth, sixth, and seventh. Now for next year, they have a first, second, fourth, fifth, and sixth. They don't have their third or seventh. And 2025, they have a first, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. They don't have their second.
So they'll have some things that they'll have to figure out. And again, we always go back to the point, or at least I do, in the sense of Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl will be free agents before you know it. You don't want to kick the can 3-4 years down the road. You want to get all that stuff solidified. So the one trade, I know it was small, but I have a couple announcements there. So we know about yesterday, the Avalanche reacquired Matt Nieto from the San Jose Sharks. So it's Ryan Merkley got sent on the other side from Jacob McDonald and Martin Kraut to the Sharks for Matt Nieto on the other side. So between Merkley and Kraut, I believe that they were like top 12, 15 picks about 3 years ago. They're still relatively young, about 22, 23 years of age. So one gets a forward, one gets a defenseman back. I think it probably makes sense on both sides because the Avalanche needs some more veteran forwards to get the job done while they're dealing with injuries. And if you're the Sharks, at least you get a back-end defensive piece that you can hope to move on and continue because let's say you lose Erik Karlsson and some of those other pieces. We know the Sharks rebuilding, but still, I think that makes sense for both teams, and it's a low-key move. But the bigger one, when we talked about Alec a few days ago in the sense of everything that was going on with Bruce Boudreau, Vancouver needed some good news. Well, they got some good news today as Andrei Kuzmenko signed a 2-year extension. He's arguably been, the 26-year-old rookie out of Russia, the best player on the team. So he's got 2 more years in Vancouver.
And you mentioned Andrei Kuzmenko, and that raises the question, what's this going to do with Bo Horvat? Is he going to go by the trade deadline,
Right.
or are they going to keep him in hopes of an unlikely playoff push? Or where does he go from here? Because I know he's a free agent in the offseason. So this could mean that Horvat could be on his way out, but I'm not entirely sure. But Kuzmenko being kept for a 2-year, $5.5 million cap hit, that's certainly promising for a Vancouver team that needs promise.
Absolutely. I mean, again, he's been one of the best players. Alongside, they have some great players. When you have Elias Pettersson, you have Hughes, and other pieces like that. Thatcher Demko has been injured, but we know what he can do when he's healthy. It's not like they don't have great players. But when you think about Rick Tocchet also, I know we talked about this before in our last broadcast, but he's not going to be the soothsayer for everything. He's not going to fix everything. And even like you said, Connor Bedard, he won't fix everything as far as what Vancouver needs. So that's a bit good news for Kuzmenko. They need a lot more of that. So our one goal scoring reset, I'll just give you the particulars since I didn't do that nonetheless. It was Brandon Hagel that got on the board. Nikita Kucherov's got 50 apples, and Brayden Point had the secondary assist with his 23rd. So Hagel got his 19th on the power play, and as Alec said, it was much maligned struggles on the Tampa power play, but they strike first. Vasilevsky stopped 13 out of 13. Linus Ullmark, not that busy, stopped 6 out of 7.
And I wonder if Connor McDavid will respond to kind on the assist chart because that puts Nikita Kucherov in sole possession of first place on the assist leaderboard now.
So, you know what? I always had to look at this because it boggles my mind if you go on the NHL stats site that they don't have a category for assists. I always wonder why, Alec. I never really understood that one. I think it's always just as important, whether it's a primary pass or a secondary pass. But yeah, we'll see if Connor McDavid takes that any lightly when they play in their next game. I happen to think, and we know this to be a fact, for as nice as all of those points are, Edmonton's going to want to do the very best they can to get back into the Western Conference Finals. Hopefully, for their sake, they don't match up against Colorado again. But I wonder if it's ever going to work for McDavid and Draisaitl. We know what they can do offensively, but can that team be good enough to win a cup? Because Stuart Skinner is not going to be able to do it by himself. They need to get much better numbers from Jack Campbell if that's going to continue to turn around.
There's been some problems for Jack Campbell as of recently, but that needs to be kept up at a consistent basis if they were to go all the way back to the Western Conference Final. Otherwise, who knows? But if it's a first round exit, I wouldn't be surprised. So I think the Vegas Golden Knights, with how injured they have been, I think that's a bad. I think the Oilers are a bad matchup for the Golden Knights.
That's essentially what we would have right now. You're saying if the season ended today, well, boy, oh boy, I'm with you on that one 100%. I don't think the Vegas Golden Knights are ready for the playoffs to start in any fraction of the imagination. And at least for the LA Kings, now that I'm looking on my board as well for Dallas, I didn't expect them to already have 50 games played. So there's already certain teams that will not be as active in the back end. So the LA Kings only get some much needed time off, as we're going to be, I think we're only a few days away from play being stopped here. As I pull ahead, we got games on Friday, we have games on Sunday, and that's the last set of it. On the Sunday, you have the Bruins and the Hurricanes and the Capitals and the Naples. Wow, you got two really good games on Sunday night. But then we're going to go a little bit into the break as far as the All-Star game. So this will go all the way. I'm going to get my numbers correct here. I'm just flipping through this calendar. So the last calendar day is going to be February 1st. And then we'll go into the break on that side. So All-Star break's going to be upcoming and should be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, the All-Star break. I have to see who's coming up in this skills competition and who's going to be in the fastest skater competition. That's one that I would likely want to see. See if Connor McDavid can take back the title after Matthew Barzal won it last year. But we'll see about this one.
Yeah, it's one of those situations for me, Alec, when I think about the All-Star game, as much as I follow hockey, and I know that you follow just as much as I do, in the sense of I might think about the All-Star game in a little bit less respect, but I'm always one of those ones in the proponent of, I like watching the skills competition. I always think that that's a lot of fun. I want to see who's got the hardest shot, who can skate the fastest, who can bring some of the other things that we haven't seen before. I don't know. Maybe if we get back to a full 5-on-5 instead of the 3-on-3 mixes of teams, it would be a little bit more intrigue for me, but still, it's fun for the players. It's fun for the fans. Enjoy all that stuff. And then when we get back into it, probably around the next week's side, maybe I'll get some more basketball games in, and then we'll figure out toward the second half of the season, we'll get more games in there with Alec and see where this goes. As we're going to be getting close here to the second period, some of the highlights that I'm getting on the monikers on the Bally Sports Florida side is lots of hitting, lots of physical play, some fights. That Corey Perry one was a good one. I'm expecting something good within this next 40 minutes, like we said, Alec. Do you think Boston ties it up here in the second period?
There's a chance that it happens, and I'm not ruling it out. And by how they have played from behind all this season, I can expect them to tie it up here in the second period. They're the only team in the league to still be with single-digit losses, regulation, overtime, and shootout combined. They have just 9 losses on the year, and they're hoping that it remains this way coming into the later periods of the night. Maybe they can get the tying goal, but I can expect it from their top 6 because that's where they get most of their chances from. And last time around when they saw these Bruins, Matt Grizzly got the game-winning goal in the final 2 minutes of play against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And he's a defenseman as well. And one of those chances, they've been getting good chances. Andrei Vasilevsky has been sharp in this game.
Yeah, and Alec was saying to bring this home, they got 47 games played, not counting this one so far. You take 5 of those away, 42. They've got points in 42 of the 47 games that they've played for their 80 points. That is remarkably consistent. 22-1-3 at TD Garden, 16-4-1 away from TD, which is also the best mark in the NHL. So absolutely crazy numbers, and we'll see what happens in this second period. I believe everything is all set to go now for my lineup, so I don't have to constantly refresh windows while also trying to do the play-by-play side. Are you not able to call the game, Alec, or you just want to do the play-by or the color stuff? Because you can if you want.
I'll do the color for today. Tomorrow I'm doing play-by-play for Leafs and Senators.
Cool. All right. Again, I just appreciate you having you on here. So this is a good contest for us to watch, and we got 40 more minutes left of it if we don't have more. So hard to believe, I always see the emblem on the ice, 30-year anniversary for Tampa. Boy, do I feel old. I was 5 years old when they were in the league, as this is picked up now by Eric Chernak, sent down the ice here for Boston. Boston has a power play that's carry overtime, about a minute 5 left as this hits the pads of Vasilevsky. Back down the ice. Nice move and a little bit of a trip in front of the players' bench.
That's a penalty.
And we are going to get a 4-on-4, and that's the wrong man, David Pastrnak, going to the box.
Wrong place at the wrong time to put your stick, and a bad time to take a penalty here if you're the Bruins. David Pastrnak, that was not a defensive play that Pastrnak was doing. He was reaching out and getting his stick right on the legs of Brandon Hagel. That is not a defensive play. 10 times out of 10, that's going to land you at the penalty box. And the Lightning were calling for the penalty, and they got it.
Yeah, that's right in front of the referee, right in front of the players' bench. This is picked up now by Sergachev. Hedman going to let it go. This one goes all the way back down the ice. We got 4-on-4 for about 50 more seconds. This is just 19:30 left to go in the middle frame. Just really getting underway on that side of it as this gets picked up across the red line. Marchand has it now. He'll hold back in his own end, take the back skate, now work toward the forehand. He's patient with it. He's going to leave a casual drop-off. He'll get set toward the right wing side as this is entered now by Charlie McAvoy. See if he can get around. Chernak on that side. Killorn also trying to join in as well toward the left side red line. Killorn has got Cirelli with him, although it's 3-on-2 off the back as it's picked up now by Mikhail Sergachev. They'll go D to D. Hold for the wrist shot, looking for the deflection. And Ullmark sees it all the way and makes the stop.
Good patience by Sergachev to find this man, Brandon Hagel, who was coming off the bench on that offensive opportunity. And Hagel coming right into the lane, finds a shooting lane. Vasilevsky still holding up his ground. That's his 14th save of the night, turning away all 14 that he faced.
Yeah, we talked about a little bit in the open, Alec, as far as where his numbers are on the averages side. But, I mean, he wants to show up big against a primetime opponent. I wouldn't put it past the Terminator, Andre Vasilevsky, to do so. So Tampa wins another offensive zone draw. Hedman will take this D to D now toward the right side of the right dot. Kucherov will play this toward an empty part of the boards, and now Tampa's power play will be abbreviated, about 55 seconds left to go in it. Hagel send this in there for Stamkos, and he got canceled off the puck by a stick check. Boston trying to get this out, but they can't. Big Victor Hedman holds this in. Stamkos will spin and pirouette. He's open toward the right side dot. They're given lots of space to cover in the middle as Boston. And Hedman can't hold it in, so it worked out for Boston on that side. As this is picked up toward the right wing, Cirelli will drop this one with the help of Hagel. Stamkos touch pass, spin by Hedman. Wasn't sure what he wanted to do with that one. Stamkos in trouble near the left side wall, trying to get some added reinforcements. Good job by Hagel just to buy some more time, but Boston finally does get this down the ice. 10 seconds left to go on the abbreviated power play for Tampa. Looks like it's going to be nothing doing. Victor Hedman now races across the red line. He gains the entry off the backhand pass toward the right wall. Spun around the embankment as Boston returns to full strength. Pasta's back on the ice as this will go to the right side wall. This will stop by the shaft of the stick of Ullmark. Boston has it in their own end now. Flip pass all the way down, trying to look for a speedy Pastrnak, and this will be iced. 17:25 in the second.
And that's a very questionable icing call because I thought Pastrnak was the first to that puck. I'm not sure who got there first initially, but I thought Pastrnak got there first. On the other side, very admirable penalty killing by the Bruins to get that PK up and going. Bouncing back from that first opportunity when he allowed that power play go for Brandon Hagel. Good defensive play. Good defensive play.
It was a good defensive play. So 64-39 are the goals in the second period for the Lightning and the Bruins, respectively. So that tells you Tampa really brings the pain in the second period. We'll see if they can add to it as it's stopped by Ullmark off the slap shot.
And I like how they track how fast these pucks go on slap shots, wrist shots, anything. This one was an 82-mile-per-hour shot from Eric Chernak at the right point, stopped by Linus Ullmark. I like how they track puck movement on another level these days.
Yes, they do. You get your information instantaneously. It's up to the broadcasters to use it all correctly, so we got to use all our tools in front of us. Stamkos, try to be on the draw here. Try to get this here from David Krejci, the ageless one, I would say, because he's still one of the highest point leaders on Boston. He spent a year overseas. He comes back and he fits right back in as the Boston machine keeps on rolling. Krejci will come back into the draw, and he'll win this one over Stamkos as he falls down to do it. But Boston has puck possession. They're going to go left to right in the second frame. They have the gold in there with the black pants. It's what they have. And Tampa's got the reverse retros with the white shirts. A casual turnover. That was a big time bailout by Vasilevsky. Why was that turnover there? Stamkos with a one-timer. That one goes wide. They better be sending Andre Vasilevsky Christmas cards for 2023 after that. This is picked up now for McAvoy. Here's Krejci. And now this goes through the left side of Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall walks in, shoots off the right blocker of Vasilevsky. That's a strong save there. Loose in front of the slot again. But the pass eluded Taylor Hall. He couldn't keep his eyes on it. It's a race for the puck. Good job by Ross Colton. He might have got a piece of one of the Bruins in the face, though. But this is still alive as he made the save off the backhand in Linus Ullmark. Now Zach Bogosian. We'll have to take a look at that replay side to see what happened on that turnover there for Vasilevsky. I'm curious to get a second look at it myself. As this is turnover again by Tampa. They've been a little careless here over the last couple minutes and now picked up into the neutral zone. It's Paul and Colton. Now toward the right wing side as Pat Maroon tries to go in there as one Taylor Hall almost falls down and picked up now by Boston. As they'll try to go left to right. It's Connor Clifton in full flight. He's going to gain the entry. He's going to try to maybe wrap this one around. Instead, go for the pass. Try to get picked up now by Pavel Zacha off the stick lift. And now it's Tampa. See if they can take a breath. Hedman will just play this one off the inboards as Ullmark will watch this go for an icing. Hopefully they show that turnover because Vasilevsky made a big save, Alec.
I mean, that turnover, man, that was just a slow-moving puck from Nick Perbix. And Boston taking away on that turnover is David Pastrnak right in tight. He saw where the puck was going and finds David Krejci out in front, trying to tap that in for the tying goal. Remarkable save by Vasilevsky to keep this 1-0.
It looked to me like Perbix was thinking that Brayden Point was going to be right behind him, and that was just the slowest casual pass I could have ever imagined. And Vasilevsky was right on the doorstep and made a big-time save. It's been the biggest one in this game at this moment. 12 face-off wins to 9 in favor of the Lightning as Victor Hedman trying to get some clarification with the referees. We're going to get everything set up here on the draw momentarily. 15:31 left to go in the second. 16 shots to 11 for Boston in favor of Tampa, but Tampa's got the lone goal by Brandon Hagel. This is flipped down. Here's Brandon Carlo. Put this toward the right side wall. As the pass gets deflected away from Marchand, it's Nick Paul, but he's all by his lonesome. Trying to center it out. The net's going to get knocked loose as Ross Colton and somebody else on Boston. They went for a tumble.
And that knocked the nets off his moorings. He and Brandon Carlo, Ross Colton going together, crashing right into the net and knocking the net off of Linus Ullmark's cage. And I just can't stop and admire that one saved by Andre Vasilevsky off the turnover. David Krejci with that good chance. Woo.
Yeah, it was a great save on that side. And thankfully for the collision that we had that just knocked the net up its moorings, everybody else is okay. Usually when you get sticks and skates flying up in the air, you got to be careful with that. So Patrice Bergeron trying to run a defensive zone draw. He can't do it as this goes now to Ian Cole. Hagel will try to collect down near the left side wall. He gets knocked down by Coyle, grabs his stick in the process. Now Hampus Lindholm, former Anaheim Duck from the deadline side. He'll get this pass across. It's a 2-on-2. Bergeron going to go right to the net instead for a deflection as this is still held off the forehand side. It's Marchand in for Bergeron, and that was a one-timer right in the slot answered by the big cat. Carlo tries to get to it now as Ian Cole has to find the puck off of a jumping zebra, and this is picked up now toward Boston and their own end. So Vasilevsky with a couple of sparkling stops in this middle frame. Every reason why this game's still 1-0. Hagel, forehand. He goes for the wrap. He gets cut off there by Carlo, and Boston has puck possession. It's still 1-0 in favor of Tampa, courtesy of Brandon Hagel. With 14:10 really there to go in the second. Shot goes wide by Coyle toward the left side wall. Here comes Tampa, right to left across your radio dial in this second period. This gets played by Ullmark. His outstretched pass will get close to the red line. And now Tampa get a chance there for Pat Maroon. Backhanded stop by Omar. He robbed Colton on that side. And now picked up by Boston. Boston will take their time here with Coyle. Drop pass ahead as McAvoy will try to find Coyle, but the shot flutters just wide of the right wall. Players come together as this is held in by Boston. Here's Grizzly, patient with it. Gives it back D. Grizzly has to pick it up and locate amongst the bowling pins as this goes now to Tampa Bay. It is Sergachev going to go ahead and go to the players' bench instead as Tampa will just gain the red line. And now it's turned over here for Nick Paul. Turnaround shot. That one goes off the left side of the glass. And now this is picked up here by Smith. Pavel Zacha has to spin and locate near the right side dot. Smith will get it back. Craig Smith trying to get around Pagosian. Collected again one more time by Zacha as this goes D with the help of Clifton. Shot into the traffic. It's a race for the puck, but it's going to be collected by the Bees. And then maybe almost turned over as Zacha can get this across the neutral zone. Boston, see if they'll shoot this one quickly. It's been a while since they got a shot on goal as this is stolen again. Tampa has it toward the forehand. Spinning around is Brayden Point. Try to find Hedman. That was a little casual. And now Pastrnak has puck possession. He centers it out, but there's a diving shot block that knocked it away before Vasilevsky ever had to make a save. Collected now by Boston. Off the offside entry there by Tampa. They had to go back. Ian Cole has it now. Alec, there's been a couple of pucks on both sides that have been some turnovers in front of their net that need to be cleaned up, even for Tampa and Boston standards.
Yeah, very much. We saw some offensive opportunities coming off of those chances and some turnovers in tight, including one in Boston's own end that almost led to Nick Paul getting a 2-0 lead for Tampa Bay. And I wonder if Brandon Hagel still complaining about that no call. I wonder if what the guys at the Lightning Radio Network, Dave Mishkin and Phil Esposito, are wondering about that no call.
Yeah, no doubt about it. As this gets sent in deep, Linus Olmark will play it from a Corey Perry clear. Tampa's got it in the offensive zone. We've been close to the 11:30 mark of the second period. Again, this is a fast-moving game because there's not been a lot of goals, but there's certainly been a lot of action between both of these teams right now. I'm watching this one with bated breath as this is picked up toward the right side red line. It's Hampus Lindholm, and they're with Belmar as well and Perry. Still trying to pry this puck loose. Hampus Lindholm doing a good job keeping it out in front of him. It gets centered and through dangerously. And now some players will come together in between the office of Olmark, and we'll see what comes of this.
I don't think there's going to be any penalties out of these ones, but things are getting really chippy between these two teams, and I can understand why. They know each other, and they don't like each other.
So in the divisional side, correct me if I'm wrong, Alec, you play 4 times in the divisional side?
It can be either 4 or 3, given the recent expansion of the Seattle Kraken much recently. Because it used to be 4 on each side when there was the Vegas Golden Knights coming into the league. There used to be a chance of it being 5 games in each division, but that was before the Vegas Golden Knights came along. Now it could be a maximum of 4 and a minimum of 3.
Thank you for correcting me on that one. I just wanted to make sure because I know these are 2 Atlantic foes, so they would at least get 3 matchups against each other. It'd be nice if ESPN actually showed me how many times they played together this year already, because I'm hoping we'll get another matchup just like these, and if not, like we said, something toward the playoffs. So I'll give you a little bit of a scoring update here. It's the Pens and the Caps. The Pens tie this one at 1. Let's see who got the goal. It was Danton Heinen from Drew O'Connor and Brian Dumoulin. 1-1 at 2:37. We have halfway to go here in the second frame between Pittsburgh and Washington. It's a big 2 points for both of those teams, is it not, Alec?
Yeah, big 2 points for these two teams, especially when it comes to playoff implications. The Penguins trying to hold on to that first wild card spot, and both of these teams, they're really wanting to avoid facing the Boston Bruins in the first round. I know how dangerous the Bruins can get. This is such a fiery squad that we are watching, and I think if I'm either one of these two teams, I'd rather much face the Hurricanes than I would want to face the Bruins.
Isn't that crazy to think, though, Alec? I mean, even before, let's say, the season started, that you would have to vouch for playing Carolina over Boston because all these teams have been so good because Carolina is probably one of those top 5 teams that could lift a cup, and they're very dangerous in their own right. So it says how good all these teams are, especially in the East. It is not fun.
Not fun at all when you face either one of these two teams. When you come to Carolina, this team is expected to be a Stanley Cup contender. Goal scoring has come as a challenge for them. It's mostly the goaltending and the defense keeping them in these games. Would it be Freddie Anderson, Antti Ranta, or Pyotr Kucherov in net? Right. I wonder what would happen with Ranta by the deadline and see if Kucherov will get called up in before the deadline and in time for the playoffs and see if would he start between Anderson and Kucherov or Ranta.
Yeah, I know you said that before, but every time you bring that up to me, I think about that even more toward the deadline. I think you might be right. Antti Ranta's got some services I think that could be used for another squad if he isn't getting the burn in Carolina that he's used to. As this is picked up now by Tampa and toward the red line side. It's been a little busy and behind Allmark's net there for the last about 40 seconds as Boston desperately trying to get this out of the zone. Tampa will collect now. As Cirelli will send this back down here for Killorn. Killorn, nice stretch pass there as he tries to get for Cirelli. He gets knocked down pretty good with the stick. This will go back to the D. Victor Hedman sets it up for the 1T for Brayden Hagel. He was looking for a second. That was a sacrificial block there toward the right side wall now. Here come the Bees. Knock this around as this gets gloved out of the air by Hedman. He just take a baseball swat at the puck, and this will go all the way back to Brandon Carlo. Carlo will survey, play this around the right side wall. This will touch the stick of Vasilevsky. He's going to leave it there for the defensive side, but it's going to be casual because Pastrnak's right on the doorstep. He's going to collect now. Play it in from his knees. He actually bounces it off the left pad of Vasilevsky. That was a good pass in between the knees. This gets fought off by the stick now of Vasilevsky, and now toward the right side wall. Brandon Hagel will flip this as we've officially hit the halfway marker, but it's not out. Krejci spin this around the embankment. Picked up now by Pastrnak as he holds that blue line. This is dangerous, but Hedman will chop at it. And now Brandon Hagel. Don't know if Tampa is really going to take a rush. They're probably exhausted. They're going to go ahead and go to the bench instead. 9:20 left to go in the second. John here with you on the play-by-play, joined by Alec Nava on the color side. Taking an Atlantic Division matchup here at this point. Lightning are 18-0 this season with leading after the first period. I'll have to take that stat and put that in my story, courtesy of Valley Sports Florida. So thank you for that. As this is picked up now by Connor Clifton. This is picked off, though. And now this will get sent down by Nick Paul. And now Craig Smith as it gets turned over again on the blue line side. Again, I noticed that a few times in this broadcast. Tampa's done an excellent job of holding this blue line as this play goes dead in the players' bench.
Excellent defense by the Lightning, and people forget to mention about how good a stay-at-home defenseman that Ian Cole can be.
Yes.
He's been that way throughout his entire career. I've seen it when he was with the Pittsburgh Penguins in the Stanley Cup runs, and he added a boost on that third pairing no matter where he is, whether it be St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Columbus, Carolina, you name it, Colorado, and now Tampa Bay, adding that boost to Eric Chernak and making up for the loss of Ryan McDonagh in the offseason. And even though he is not Ryan McDonagh, he is still a serviceable defensive defenseman. He and Eric Chernak forming in that defensive duo, right, that shutdown pair.
Yes.
Ryan McDonagh left off, and Cole was picking up where he left off.
And a heck of a lot less of a cap hit. And at the same time, when you talk about Steve Yzerman now with Detroit, now Julian Breezewell, the GM for Tampa Bay, you got to be able to make those moves and make acquisitions like that when you're all the way against the cap. And Tampa has still kept themselves competitive. They made it to the Stanley Cup Finals 3 straight years. I'm not going to write out a possible fourth, Alec. I'm going to tell you that in all honesty. I know there's a lot of miles and tread and stuff as far as how many extra games you play, but Tampa looks every bit as good to me as Boston does.
I think these two teams match up very well against one another. And Tampa Bay, I know that they just won't go away, even though when they're faced up against the cap, even though they lost Andre Bola, even though they lost Ryan McDonagh, they still managed to keep the core together and get some solid pieces at cheaper prices. And I mentioned Ian Cole, and how about the call with Nick Perbix,
yes.
the pair with Mikhail Sergachev. These two have been so good together.
whether or not it's the lighting system, whether or not, like you said, with the scouting, it's a mix of everything. It seems like anybody that they put in there, like to your point of being Cole, anybody that they put on this team out like just seems to fit like a glove, and they just play Tampa Bay Lightning hockey. There really is no other way I can say it.
John Cooper, everyone.
Yeah, they have no doubt about that. He is a big part of it. So it's going to be a neutral zone draw. This is won by Tampa, and immediately it's puck possession in the offensive end here for Tampa. It's just one goal, courtesy of Brayden Hagel. The shots are now 21-16 in favor of Boston, but there's been some turnovers on both sides in this second period that these goalies have made some excellent saves on within the slot and very close. Boston, we'll see if they can get on the board here in the second period. I was asking Alec who's going to get the second goal. We think Boston might tie this one up at least. I don't think this is going to be a 5-4 type game considering the type of goalies that you have in there, but still, it's very foreign to see Boston behind in a game. But this is one of those ones where Tampa is just as good on the other side. So picked up now by Connor Clifton. Slap shot opportunity. Vasilevsky, no screen in front, makes the save, and we get some more pushing and shoving with Foligno and Greer and a host of Tampa Bay Lightning.
And when you talk about who's going to get the next goal here, I'd imagine this being a 1-1 game, probably after 2, maybe even 3. We could see even overtime or shootout between these two teams, knowing how good they can be. Matt Grizzly with that last shot, it went through traffic. There was a deflection right in front. Not sure if it went off a stick of a Bruin or a bolt right in front, but Andre Vasilevsky knew that puck was going to get tipped, and he held his own as it was going right to his chest.
Great call by you. I just saw part of the deflection there. It looked like there was no traffic in front, but as you said, the Big Cat, excellent job tracking the puck. That's why he stopped 22 out of 22. Here's a rare offensive zone faceoff when Grizzly fires. And that one's in the catching glove of the Big Cat.
And Grizzly, again, the second straight shot by him. This time he goes on his offside, right on his right side. He normally plays left defense. This time he goes to his right. Andre Vasilevsky able to catch that with his glove.
Another face-off here. This one is actually claimed by Tampa. They'll be able to get this one down. Vasilevsky, a couple good saves over the last sequence. And now this will be Boston in their own end. Keep this alive off the forehand. Get a pass that bounces off Alex Killorn. It's a race for the puck now, as Foligno will try to get to it, but Chernak will find Cole. Spin this around the right side wall as this goes back. This is played dangerously out in front of the forehand, settled down by Boston. They'll have puck possession now. Although they're hounded all over the place, as Hall played the pass across. That one goes toward the right side wall, collected now by Brad Marchand. He tries to shoot one into the screen with the tip of Bergeron, and that goes wide. And this will get touched by the stick of Allmark. He'll watch this go by. Now the defense can get settled here for Boston. We've hit the 7-minute marker of the second frame. Still 1-0, courtesy of Brandon Hagel. David Pastrnak toward the right side red line. Now with Mikhail Sergachev, it's Brayden Point out there. So part of the first line out there with John Cooper's squad as this is gloved down out of the air off a jump. Stamkos might be an opportunity off the backhand. What a stop by Allmark with the left pad. A great looking setup there from Stamkos to Point. It was uno on uno, 1-on-1, and Allmark denies Point off the backhand opportunity.
And we're going to get a slashing penalty on the Bruins. Hampus Lindholm going to the box as he slashed Brayden Point on that breakaway opportunity. Steven Stamkos with an eagle eye fighting Point and almost on point. No pun intended. Linus Allmark able to get the full extension of the pad to deny that chance after all sorts of pressure by the Bruins on the other side of the ice. We'll see if the Lightning go 2 for 3 on a man advantage.
Alec, how strong do you got to be to still get that backhand off while you're getting slashed? Now this is another opportunity for Tampa. Good-looking setup. It was Stamkos in the slot, denied by Allmark.
The second straight save by Linus Allmark as Steven Stamkos right on the slots. Right place, right time. Allmark being a step ahead, trying to uphold his historic numbers from this season. He's already given up a goal. He doesn't want to give up another one here. And he's doing everything
What do they say about those great saves? The 10 bell saves? Well, Walmart's made a couple. Here comes another face-off. Went up the slapper. That one goes wide off the deflection. The last one was at 82 miles an hour from Kucherov. And this will go back now to Andrei Vasilevsky. And again, I'll have to keep my fandom in check as Nikita Kucherov is one of the ones I always keep an eye on alongside Alex Ovechkin, as his Russian superstars can do some dangerous things with the puck, especially when you have Steven Stamkos combined on the power play. Good looking setup off the forehand, and that goes wide and tight somehow and goes on the player's bench.
I'm not sure how this one got out of play because Nikita Kucherov, he was in tight. Brayden Point lost that puck, or I believe he was trying to. Yeah, he lost that puck trying to outmaneuver someone else, and Kucherov just airmailed that shot. He tried to go top right corner, and unfortunately, I think he just overshot that one.
Man, he was drawing on the spot right toward the left side of the crease, and he still wired that high.
Oh, boy.
124 left to go in the Tampa power play. The good thing for them is they won the last couple of draws. Patrice Bergeron really needs to get this one. And this is a battle for the puck now. Connor Clifton able to kill some time. And this will go back to the big cat. We'll see if he'll play it. Yes, he will, toward the left side of the dot. And now Tampa will get this as Cirelli's pass. This might be an opportunity for Stamkos, but a diving shot block the other way negates the opportunity. Good defense there by the Bees. And they'll send this all the way down. Those are the type of plays that you have to make. Yes, Linus Ullmark made some outstanding saves, but you can't give up there. And that was a great shot block. Hopefully we can get a number on that one. As this is picked up now across the Tampa logo and the lightning bolt, we'll send this across. Back around the left side boards. This is a long stretch pass by Ullmark. It's going to work as a self-clear. Good job by the Boston netminder. As it's Stamkos. Will make the pass across here for Alex Killorn. Corey Perry tries to find Stamkos. Beats a couple defenders. Try to get it back for the 1T. Holds it down. Shoots off the wrist. And that gets blocked down in front by Boston and sent back down. So a great job, Alec, by Boston penalty killers. As this will go to Mikhail Sergachev, flipped ahead by Brayden Point. Gain the entry is Anthony Cirelli. He's going to dance in behind the net of Ullmark. He's going to pay the price for it, though, as a couple Boston Bruins came out in front. Alex Killorn will send this one back up for Sergachev. That got tipped. Back to full strength. Hampus Lindholm back on the ice for Boston. And now this is finally out. 4:25 left to go in the second. John here with you on the play-by-play, joined by Alec Nava. We're at Amalie Arena. Watching this one on ESPN Plus between Boston and Tampa. 25 shots for Boston, 19 for Tampa. Here is a 2-on-2 opportunity. Taylor Hall with some effort. He gets slammed hard into the net. And now we're really going to have a scrum. Sergachev down there with Paul. Paul is still getting smoked by Sergachev.
And on my end, Lindholm and Pastrnak, they want to drop the gloves at each other. No gloves have been dropped as yet. Sergachev, he's angry at the official about an impending penalty. I know these guys, they want to drop the gloves. The officials taking control of this game and ensuring that's not happening. But for sure, we're going to get a penalty here, and we're going to wait to see who this is on and think they're really getting chippy between these two teams.
Man, I love this, Alec. This is a nice game so far. This is what you wanted to see from both of these teams, is it not?
Yep. You see the offensive opportunities flying left and right. And that one block on that pass, that centering feed, Connor Clifton got in the way.
Thank you.
Denied that shooting opportunity. And Clifton trying to get the Bruins off this penalty kill. And the Bruins killed off another penalty, their third of this night. And we'll see if the Bruins can get on the power play later in this game. I don't know if they will, but they have yet to find the back of the net, trying to solve Andrei Vasilevsky, the big cat, as people put it.
I will throw a high five. I know we're from different parts of the globe on that side, Alec, but I'm glad that you mentioned Connor Clifton on that side because I wanted to make sure we give him a shout out on that diving shot block because that was a great defensive play alongside a wonderful Boston Bruins penalty kill as things really started to heat up. What I was going to say before I went to the break was we talked about Mikhail Sergachev and him being animated. He tried to grab at the referee, a couple players, and he actually hit the net a couple times on his way to the box. So from what I see right now, both at the 15:48 marker on the ESPN box side, It's Taylor Hall, 2-minute minor against Andrei Vasilevsky, and Mikhail Sergachev, 2 minutes for cross-checking. So we'll see if we get an offsetting 4-on-4 here.
So I think Hall crashed right into the net. I think this is goalie interference.
Yes.
I'm guessing, but Sergachev, I think he had a little assist on Hall there as Sergachev cross-checked Hall to the ground right afterwards. And this is just some boneheaded plays by Sergachev these last few plays, and that's going to cost you. We got some 4-on-4.
That little assist there, like you said, from Sergachev on Hall, got Hall airborne. Thankfully, Andrei Vasilevsky wearing a gold mask. Remember, way back in the day, these goalies never had masks. So that could have really had been something bad. So it is Hall and it is Sergachev. We're going to get some 4-on-4. So I'm not going to ask you which side of the ice and which team favors on a 4-on-4 because I think it's kind of just offsetting. Both of these forward groups are fantastic. So we'll just sit back and watch the theater, and I won't put your hand to the fire as far as answering that question because I'm not too sure myself. 4:12 left to go in the second. It's a 1-0 lead courtesy of Brandon Hagel all the way back from the first period. We got nothing in the second period as far as goals, but boy, do we have some animosity on the ice, and I don't say that lightly. So David Krejci will win the draw as we have another minute 55 left to go in the 4-on-4, about 4 minutes left to go in this middle frame. Here's a chance for Pastrnak trying to split the pair of defenders, and he almost does. He's got skill and speed for days as this goes back now for Kucherov. Kucherov will get this back now with some help. We'll spin back around. It's a minute 30 left to go in the 4-on-4. Another dangerous pass, but Vasilevsky able to find that and just put this in deep as this will go back now. For Hedman, cross pass Stamkos. Stamkos gets stick lifted, falls down. Here's an opportunity for Boston, although Tampa's got 3 back. Stamkos still trying to get back into play. Pasta, cross pass. Waiting on the left side dot is one of the Bs, as this will go back, as they'll hold the blue line. Now a great move toward the right side, looking for another cross pass, and this is picked up now by Pasta. Pasta will hold. Still has the puck as they'll crisscross. He's still gingerly riding that blue line as this goes back to Hampus Lindholm. Gives it back now. Pasta will fire and score! It's Brad Marchand! He picks it up and scores and ties this game at 1.
And it was just a matter of time until the Bruins tie this game up. It wasn't if the Bruins will tie it up, it's when they will tie it up. Brad Marchand uses one of the Lightning defenders as a screen after the initial feed from Pastrnak to Hampus Lindholm, and then there was another defender who got to be, I think that was Charlie McAvoy, who finds Marchand. Big, let's see here. Oh, that was Stamkos. That was Steven Stamkos who Brad Marchand uses a screen right for the legs and then shot it 5-0. He nutmegged him right for that tying goal.
Wow, that was a good-looking setup there for Boston. They stayed ever patient on that 4-on-4. I guess we could have asked if Boston was going to score the next goal. We did on that side, and they did, but they didn't expect it on a 4-on-4. And now it's Brayden Point. Still 40 seconds left to go in this 4-on-4. As Chernak will try to spin. Marchand, the latest goal scorer, alongside Brandon Hagel. It's 1 apiece now, 1 goal apiece in the period. This game has been quite excellent so far between these two teams that you would expect, 2 powerhouses in the East. It's turned over now. Here's a chance for Hagel and Point to make something happen, but Boston will get back, flip this one down the ice, and this will touch the goal stick of Vasilevsky. This will be iced instead. I thought he touched it, but it's 11 seconds left to go on the 4-on-4.
Yeah, I thought he was just going to let this go for the icing, but the Lightning, they're trying to answer right back. Brayden Point taking this across, trying to find an open lane, but good defense by the Bruins. Hampus Lindholm and Patrice Bergeron cutting that chance off. Lindholm having a career year after many years in the Anaheim Ducks, now finding a home in Boston.
Yeah, you got to love it when you go from one end of the spectrum to the other on the standings. You get a chance to play some meaningful hockey. Hedman with the bomb. It gets tipped by Paul. Paul had a second effort. That one got stopped by Hampus Lindholm, and now he might have a race for the puck. Can Marchand do something again with it? He's looking for Taylor Hall off the pass. I thought he might take it. Hall stuck toward the right side of the boards. This gets blocked here by Tampa. 2 minutes left to go in this second period. Feels like the voice has gone up a little bit like an octave. It feels like a playoff game. It certainly does. And between Boston and Tampa. John out here with you with Alec Nava between play-by-play and color respectively as it's Coyle toward the right hand. Set up a 1T off the bar and up in the air. My goodness, and on a play.
Oh, so close for Pavel Zacha to get the lead for the Bruins. Taking a 1T from Charlie Coyle. Sometimes they have been out there on the ice together, and this is one of those times. And Zacha, scoring isn't really his primary trait, but he has picked up the goal-scoring pace as of recently as 8 goals on the year. And it's 3 of them ever since I last saw the Bruins play right there on the ice. 8 goals, 31 points. Almost had his 9th of the year on the 1T. It went off of Vasilevsky, I believe. It went off of Vasilevsky and right into the netting. That's what I saw.
Yeah, it was a good call by you. It actually went off the left pad. I thought it went off the bar. It actually went off his left pad and went up into the netting. So Vasilevsky had to make another save, and that was right in between the circles for Pavel Zacha off the 1T, as you called it. And this is picked up now by Ian Cole. Now there's a chance for Ross Colton. He's going to chip across the red line as Ullmark will watch this go for a nice 133 in the second.
And by how this game is going, I would not be surprised if both teams would end the game, would finish this game with at least 30 shots, maybe even 35 each.
I would say that Andre Vasilevsky's probably had to make some of the tougher saves, but I don't disagree with you. I think it's going to be about a 30 spot on both sides. I think you're right on the mark with that. As Boston gets another opportunity off the offensive zone draw. They've won the last few after Tampa was kind of getting some regard in that area. This one, they cannot be kept across the blue line side as the Bees want to go back and touch. This gets turned over. Here's a chance for Colton with Maroon. We'll drop it. This gets deflected. Now picked up by Cole. Cole will just put this around the end boards. It's a race for the puck now for Ross Colton, and now collected by the Boston Bruins. There's been a minute left to go in the second. Brad Marchand just tied the game. McAvoy looking for a deflection there for Zacha as this goes D to D, but it can't be held. Boston off the race for the puck. Linus Ullmark goes all the way back out to the right dot. 50 seconds left to go in this middle frame. 1-1's the score line. Hagel in the first, Marchand in the second. 27 shots to 20 in favor of the Bees. As this is picked up, Vasilevsky will touch this with the pad, put it to the goal stick, and now this goes in behind the net here for the Lightning. They'll try to go right to left. They got probably a couple more plays to make. Same thing for Boston. Got about 25 seconds. Vladimir Mestikov lost it here to Hampus Lindholm. We'll just flutter this around the inboards. Now this will go back from Perbix to Hedman. Haven't really seen that defensive pairing too much together. As they'll close out the last 10 seconds of the Boston Bruins with puck possession, they'll just put it around the inboards. We'll see if they'll try to make one more play or if they're just going to casually end this. So down to 3 seconds. Now time to shoot one at half if you want to. Coyle can't get it off in time. And it's 1-1 at the end of 2, Alec.
I think Ross Colton was the best player on the Lightning ice for this Tampa Bay team throughout this second period. He was up and down the ice, getting some opportunities, using that speed. He tried to get an edge off. On the other side, Brad Marchand tying this game up using Stamkos as a screen. They had some good looks throughout the second period. The Bruins, David Krejci had an amazing opportunity off that turnover from Nick Perbix on the beat from David Pastrnak. And as the Bruins tying this up, they've been working hard to tie this up, and they've been rewarded with it.
So if I'm Jim Montgomery or I'm John Cooper here, Alec, what do I say to both of my teams in the locker room to try to get the next goal? Because it seems like both of these teams are mirror images against each other. Is it more physical play until somebody breaks? Is somebody going to make a complete superstar play? Are we looking for deflections at the point? What are we looking for to see one of these teams get the next goal?
With how physical and chippy this game is, I would not be surprised if the physical play takes over throughout this third period. The physicality and the tenacity of both these teams, I would not be surprised if either one of these two teams make a physical play that changes the course of this game. Maybe a fight and a takedown that can spark one of these two teams. And I think that Connor Clifton victory over Corey Perry, it really boosted the Bruins up into the second period.
No doubt about it. And again, we've seen some of the physical interactions between both of these teams as the net's been taken off its moorings. We've seen a fight. We've seen a lot of check, a lot of gritty play. Again, the 4-on-4 side, as you talk about with Sergachev maybe making some plays that he shouldn't, I agree with you on that side. It led to a very pretty goal there from the Boston Bruins from Brad Marchand in the second, from Connor Clifton and Hampus Lindholm. Hampus Lindholm's got his 26 assists. He's a plus 38 on the season on that side at 1658, ties the game at 1. Your particulars, the Big Cat, 26 out of 27 saves for a 963. And Allmark a little busier in that second period, 19 out of 20 for a 950. So this game's a teeter-totter. We'll see which way it's going to swing on that side because it's been a little bit all over the place. So 3-3 between the Red Wings and the Canadiens at the end of 2. I'm just going to take a quick look at that one. It is Oscar Sundqvist and Jonathan Berggren, Raphael Javi Pinard, and Javi Pinard again in the second and third. So I'm seeing a lot of names in Pizzetia and Pinard, two people that I'm not really familiar with, and I watch a lot of hockey in the sense of it's a 3-3 tie. So Martin St. Louis can't be a little bit you should be happy with that. He got the secondary goal scoring from Montreal. You don't see too much of that.
And Raphael Harvey Pinard, 5'9", 181. So it's a short king's time here in Montreal. Martin St. Louis was a short king back in his day. He was 5'8". Previously, he had the double overtime winner in Game 6 in the 2004 final that sent it to a Game 7, if I remember correctly. He had that big overtime winner in the 2014 Eastern Conference Final against the team that he's coaching right now.
Yeah. That's a good call by you. Marty St. Louis was one of the really good ones. Again, to be able to play at that size and have that kind of tenacity and all that is not something a lot of players possess. Here's an interesting scoreline for me. It's 2-2 at the end of 1 between New Jersey and Nashville. I was wondering who was going to be in the pipes. It's Mackenzie Blackwood, 21 out of 23 for a 913, and you say Saros. Saros has given up 2 goals on just 8 shots, so not particularly sharp for him. It's Jesper Bratt and Igor Sharankovich, the goal scorers for New Jersey. There was one after the other. Cody Glass and Cole Smith got the goals for Nashville. Cody Glass, I believe, was a Vegas Golden Knights product from about 3 seasons ago. He was one of their first picks. Now his home is in Nashville, so hopefully he can continue to get things going. He's got his 7th on the power play.
And a very uncharacteristic night for Yusei Saros, who got selected to the All-Star game this season. I wonder if he's going to be the starter in net for the Central Division over Connor Hellebuyck. Maybe not, given the season that Hellebuyck has been having. So Josh Morrissey, you can't go wrong between selections between Morrissey and Hellebuyck for the All-Star nominees from Winnipeg. Though Saros giving up 2 goals on 8 shots, that's uncharacteristic of him. And it's basically a role reversal from here because Mackenzie Blackwood, he's standing on his head, turning away 21 of 23 shots. And usually you'd expect this from Vitek Vanacek. And Vanacek, he's resting this game. I don't know if this is let's see the schedule here. This is not a back-to-back. Or let's see if the Devils are playing tomorrow, and which they are. And they're playing in Dallas tomorrow. So I think the plan here is that they want to get Blackwood in for tonight, then have Vanacek play for tomorrow. So this makes total sense on my part, considering that they're playing against a team that is lower in the standings, and you want to play the starter against the higher team.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I just want to take a look at it because you talk about some of the guys in the Winnipeg Jets. You got Kyle Connor that's got 57 points, and he doesn't even get a nod on that side. So the Winnipeg Jets are having an absolutely great season on that side as far as what they got. And for the Devils, like you said, you're going to have Vitek Vanacek going tomorrow, so that does make total sense. But you say Saros, and between that and Connor Hellebuyck, that's like, Alec, that's like asking which one of your children you like more. I don't know how you end up making that selection as far as who you're going to take, but I'll just say this to you honestly. I'll make the selection. I'm going to take Connor Hellebuyck. I think he's had a fantastic year, and he's had a career save percentage at this point. You say Saros is kind of treading that same water, so I'm going to go ahead and say Connor Hellebuyck gets that start.
Yeah, I'm taking Hellebuyck too. And he's won a Vezina Trophy before. That was 2020, if I remember correctly. And He turned away all 13 Buffalo Sabres shots. So so far in the Jets game against Buffalo. Winnipeg has 6 shots. They're all turned away by the former Winnipeg backup, Eric Comrie. So it's a scoreless match here in the true North City.
In the over-under at that one, I think that's what it's always set at, is at 6.5. I think that might be a little bit optimistic because you have Connor Hellebuyck on the other side, but I guess they're really just depending on whether or not Tage Thompson is going to continue to score goals. He's got 33 goals and 33 assists already. My goodness, the 25-year-old is 6'7", 218. I didn't even realize he was that big. So to be able to do all that stuff and still score at that point, that is absolutely frightening. And then you have a breakout year for Rasmus Dahlin as well. I think this is as good as Buffalo has looked in a long time. And again, we talked about that a little bit in the intermission. It's probably been about a decade. So if they get in the playoffs, I think it'll be a breakout party. I want people to have a chance to watch Tage Thompson and realize this guy is one of the best goal scorers in the NHL.
They found their franchise center, as I point out many times before. Tage Thompson and Don Granato know each other so well, and Granato has been instrumental to Thompson's development, and that he's grown into their top-line center. That's amazing stuff by the both of them, and it can work wonders for the Sabres in their future.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when we talk about Sabres in future, some people might laugh or have a long question at the end of it, but no, it's the truth. And even having Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, he's honestly been really good in goal for them as well. So they have a goaltender. Nobody's going to say Dominik Hasek. I certainly won't do that. But hey, you got one that's pretty good. You have some back-end defensive pieces. You're also having Owen Power there from the Matty Beniers draft and all the Michigan players on that side. So Sabres have a really good pot of gold, I think, at the end of the tunnel. They might make the playoffs this year. I think they can. We've talked about some of the pieces that they have. But the future is certainly bright. I don't think they're a team that's going to be going away anytime soon.
No, they're not. And considering the young pieces that they have together, such as Alex Tuck, Peyton Krebs, Dylan Cousins, Jack Quinn, J.J. Peterka, those guys are certainly pieces that they're looking out for. My biggest question heading into the season was Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. If he can stay consistently healthy and perform on a consistent basis. There was a debate between him or Devon Levi being the call-up for the Buffalo Sabres heading into the season. It turned out to be Luukkonen, and he's been responding in kind for Buffalo.
Yeah, those are names that you threw out past on me that I wouldn't even recognize on the other side. So good job by you. That's why we have you on the broadcast. Like I said, you're a hockey encyclopedia. You know a lot more than I do on that side. But you have surprising scoreline for me. I know it's just the end of one, but Philadelphia's got a 1-0 lead on Minnesota. We just talked about in the first intermission where they are in the standings. On the outside looking in, Bill Guerin's not going to like that. Neither is Kirill Kaprizov. I don't think they've had the same type of secondary scoring Minnesota this year that they had before. Because if I remember correctly, last season, Ryan Hartman had about 30-something goals, and he's nowhere near that point right now. So the lone goal that I see for Philadelphia is Noah Cates from Rasmus Ristolainen with his 5th assist, as Philadelphia's got a 1-0 advantage after one.
That is honestly one of the more shocking results that I've been seeing throughout the day today, throughout the night tonight, well, however you want to put it, wherever you are in this globe. Well, this is actually surprising given where Philadelphia and Minnesota are in the standings. But Minnesota, they have not had that same secondary scoring as they had in the past. Of course, they lost Kevin Fiala, but they had to make up for that. And given the contract that Matthew Boldy has been given, he is expected to step up right into the future and live up to that contract. The question, if he can, is right into mine.
Yeah, it's a 7-year deal, $49 million. They want to get out in front of it to Bill Guerin. We know that Matt Boldy's going to be a good NHLer. I don't think he'd ever be anything worse than a third liner, but when you get that kind of money at that kind of mark at this point, like you said, Alec, I think you hit it right on the head. Matt Boldy's going to have to be one of those guys that maybe gets you ballpark it here, 25 goals in a season or more, and continue the pace of play. So I think that makes a lot of sense on that part. And again, when you talk about it between Zach Parise and Ryan Suter on those buyouts, Bill Guerin effectively signs in blood. We need to be competitive right now. You got Kirill Kaprizov that's going to break pretty much every Minnesota record in the book, correct? And then the only thing you can do right now is if you're Minnesota, make that playoff push. And if you don't, that's a wasted season.
And they have to make sure that they stay competitive in the Kaprizov era. Sure, they've won some playoff series with Mikko Koivu as their franchise guy, but they need to compete every year in and out, and possibly, if they want to take that next step, get serious right in the front office and go after big-name guys right in the off-season. But it's going to be tough considering the buyouts of Zach Parise and Ryan Suter. They're approaching the middle term of those buyouts, so it's going to be tough on going after those big-name guys.
Yeah, some of the videos that I'll watch on YouTube trying to prospect anything that happens at the deadline. I think what we're going to hear from a lot of general managers, Alec, is we wanted this guy, but we didn't have the cap space, because it seems like there's only maybe 5 teams in the NHL that actually have sufficient money to do so. Like the Seattle Kraken would be one of those. But I mean, again, as you said, whether it's Erik Karlsson or some of these other pieces, that's going to have to be a cap hit on one side that gets retained, as you nailed that perfectly. And if I'm hesitant, honestly, to be able to do that and have it be a rental, maybe have to give up some draft picks on the other side. I think Boston will be one of those teams that'll look to add. Maybe there'll be smaller term deals. We'll see a lot of smaller term deals on the deadline, but these big movers, these heavy hitters, I don't know, Alec, to be honest with you, if we're going to see too many of those. There'll probably be some, but if we had to prospect any big names, good luck trying to move Karlsson and pieces like that.
And keep an eye out for Bo Horvat heading up into the trade deadline. The Andrei Kuzmenko extension, as we pointed out earlier, that could spark some rumors of Horvat being moved by the deadline. And there are going to be teams that are looking after him, possibly to add depth to that center pieces.
Yeah, you hit that on the head. I think that's exactly what's going to happen with that on that side. You sign Kuzmenko, you're going to move Horvat out the door. That just makes way too much sense to me. I think if we had to project one of those moves, I think that'd be something that would be nothing's 100%, but I would put that at least in the high 90s category as far as what's going to happen on that side. It says Grayson, as in the YouTube comments, says I'm a Bruin and a Red Wings fan tonight. How are you doing? Yeah, we're doing good right now. I got Alec Nava with me on this side. It's a good contest. It's 1-1 on both. So hopefully we'll see what bets you have on there, Grayson, and whether you put the overs and unders, because it's just a 1-1 game between both. It's Hagel and Marchand with the goals. Hagel in the first on the power play. Boston got it with Marchand on the 4-on-4. It was a nice patient play. And as Alec pointed out, I think both of these goaltenders between Ullmark and Vasilevsky will get close to about 30 saves, poor on both sides. There was some turnovers in that second period. I think that need to be corrected a little bit, but we'll see what happens with it, because these goaltenders are good enough to stop some of these turnovers and make some big saves, as we've seen, especially with Vasilevsky.
Yep, and one of those turnovers, that was Nick Perbix on one of those that turnover, it almost led to a David Krejci goal.
Yeah, it was right off the backhand opportunity. Perbix was trying to find his other defensive partner. I think it actually was Brayden Point at one time coming all the way back. Thought he was going to be there on the left side of the faceoff dot. He was not. There ended up having to be a couple saves there by Andrei Vasilevsky. I'm going to go ahead and take a quick look and see if there's any other games that are in action, but I think they're all at the end of the period, so I can't give any live updates just yet. But it's 3-3 between the Red Wings and the Canadiens, 1-1 in our game between the Bruins and the Lightning. Again, at hopelesssportsguy.wordpress.com, I'll have the play-by-play, and for Alec and myself in the game story to follow. Penguins and Caps just underway now in the third, tied at 1. And that is the one that's actually underway. And I'll take a look to see how many minutes we got left in our intermission, just to see if maybe I can get a live look.
So you enter coming out for the third period. Danton Heinen with a tying goal, 2:37 into the second period from Drew O'Connor and Brian Dumoulin. And we're looking to shut off these Capitals right in the third period. It was quite the opposite of what was in the first period, where the Capitals heavily outshot us. The Penguins, we outshot the Capitals by a slight margin, 6 shots in that. But that was a total of 6-shot difference, 18-12 in that second period, a high-shooting second period for both of these teams.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We got about 1:30 left to go in our OT, so I was going to try to get a live look in, but we're already going to be back underneath the play highlights. We got the Tampa Bay, Florida feed, Bally Sports Florida feed, I should say, Bally Sports Sun. That's what I got right now with Dave Deerdorf on that side for Tampa. I think he used to work for Sportsnet, but now he's got the Tampa side for the play-by-play, so that's got a lot better. I could not, for the life of me, folks, put on the Jack Edwards part of the play-by-play, so anytime we do a Boston game, it will not have that side of the feed of it because it'll just make me want to have my ears bleed.
And the thing is about Jack Edwards, the thing is people can't stand him. And I know that there's a reason why behind him. And you mentioned about Dave Randorf. Yeah, he used to work in Sportsnet. Used to be the voice of the Montreal Canadiens. Now he's the voice of the Tampa Bay Lightning on the TV play-by-play side after the retirement of Rick Peckham. And Randorf, yeah, he covered a Western Conference final. That was 2019 between the San Jose Sharks and St. Louis Blues. That was the only one that he worked on Sportsnet. Yeah, he used to work there up in Canada.
Thank you for that assist there, Alec, because I was wondering where I heard that. I know he was very good at it. So, again, Alec is right there to cover my butt on the side when I throw something out there. So, I appreciate that. So, we're going to be getting into the third period here. We are tied at 1. So, are we going to have overtime? Are we going to have a shootout? I'd be very happy to see this game go more than 60 minutes. Because whatever we got in the first 40, Alec, this has been fantastic.
And to tell the tape here, Patrice Bergeron surprisingly is not doing well in the faceoff circle. 14 losses as opposed to 4 wins. Anthony Cirelli on the other side is taking 9 faceoff wins and 5 losses. So uncharacteristic night for Patrice Bergeron and the center depth for the Bruins in the faceoff circle. Because they've won only 13 faceoffs as opposed to the Lightning's 22.
That's a really good call on that side. I just saw that stat come across too. So for everything Anthony Cirelli does to do that against Patrice Bergeron, who I always thought of as one of the elite centermen in the league, that's kind of low-key domination. And that matters a lot in a game like this when you have to have puck possession with teams that have such high-quality depth on forwards and D. So you have Jim Montgomery, you have John Cooper looking on. Again, John Cooper is a very formidable man, former lawyer at Michigan, the best friend of Jeff Blashill, who was also, the Red Wings former coach, and now he's assistant. So the last 10 games at home for Tampa, 10-0, 44 goals for, 20 against. And you see what will give in this third period because, as they know, Boston is one of the better third period teams in the league, especially when you have a record like that. No kidding. So this is picked up now left to right, and this is a pass that has to be recollected by Hedman. He's just going to slap shot this down the boards, not to turn it over. And now also get picked up here by Connor Clifton as he has to hold a hit. And I'm going to turn my TV up just a bit here so I can get some of this. It's picked up now toward Boston, and now intercepted. It'll be left to right for Tampa in this period, right to left for Boston in this radio dial. This is picked up now by Derek Forbert. And this will go to Trent Frederick. Picked up toward the right-hand side now is Boston. Will keep this alive off the forehand and keep the puck possession there for Coyle. A race for the puck. This gets tapped ahead, and Nick Perbix trying to get on his horse. So there's big collision toward the right side, and we'll see if one of the Bruins is okay. That's Charlie McAvoy. Boy, oh boy.
That was an awkward collision right into the boards. He and Nick Perbix trying to go after one another. They get tangled up, the both of them going right into the boards, and McAvoy just ran right into the boards hard. Oh, he's favoring that left arm. I think something happened to it. This is not good for the Bruins.
Yeah, Charlie McAvoy could do nothing to brace himself in the way that he was stuck there with Nick Perbix. That's a left arm at full speed going into the boards. Immediately drops his stick, and oh man, Charlie McAvoy was just having to battle some injuries. He didn't come to the season until late. He's slow to get up. He's coming back off of shoulder surgery, and he's being looked at right now. Not a good scene.
He's being helped off the ice by Hampus Lindholm and one of the athletic training staff. He's skating off of his own power, had to be helped back up, and yeah, he's skating under his own power. So he's going to be looked at right at the medical room, right down the tunnel. So they'll take a look at him. I wonder if he's going to be ruled out for the rest of this game if things get worse for him, but I don't know. This is tough. A tough sight for the Bruins.
So the one thing I can say is he's going into the dressing room. He was shaking out both arms, so you wouldn't be doing that if things were broken, as he was getting a heavy ovation from not only all the crowd, but tons of Boston fans that are traveling to go ahead and see this game. So not a seat to be missed at Amalie Arena right now, as this is a primetime regular season matchup between the Bruins and the Bolts, tied at 27-20 on the shots. Bruins have that advantage. Brad Marchand with the latest goal, and Brandon Hagel in the first. Marchand in the second. And right off the one-timer, is this in? It's Kucherov. Wow.
That's quick. That's quick. Right off the face-off, Nikita Kucherov immediately snipes past Linus Ullmark. This was a quick face-off win by Steven Stamkos. I think he used Pavel Zacha as a screen as Kucherov was trying to get this through. I think he does. Went to the far side. Linus Ullmark could only see Zacha right in front of him. And he tried to make the quick stop. But when he tried to, it was already in the back of the net.
That was an unbelievable face-off when it happened that quickly. It was so clean to Kucherov. The quick snapper, he scores immediately, and now Hagel pushing and shoving there with Hall in the middle of the circle before we get to the puck drop. Yeah, that was a lightning quick shot for the Lightning and Nikita Kucherov. My goodness. And now we have some more pushing and shoving in between Killorn and Marchand. Let's drop the puck, gentlemen, shall we? As this is picked up now by Matt Grzelcyk and put across the red line. Wow, what a goal that was for Kucherov. Now one-timer opportunity. This gets blocked out in front and trying to get picked up now by a host of Tampa Bay Lightning. Here's another one for Grzelcyk. That one gets fired wide and collected now by Boston. Tampa back up by a goal now as both teams have traded goals. We'll see what's next for us. Picked up now by Anthony Cirelli. Off the one-timer, Chernak breaks his twig. He might have to go back to the players' bench to get one. He can because there's puck possession there for Hagel off the give and go, and that was stopped by Omar.
And the Lightning immediately going to work to try and build on this lead. Given how good and insanely good this Bruins team is, you cannot play safe when it comes to this team because immediately they'll bite you. So keep attacking the net, and the Lightning do just that. They just keep attacking the net. That's what Brandon Hagel does right off the feed. Even though Linus Ullmark made the stop, that is the game plan the Lightning are going with, to keep attacking the net. I mentioned this for 3 times already. Need I say more?
I'm absolutely with you there on Alec. You cannot give any sort of inch because they'll take a mile. And Boston can punch you right back in the mouth. So in total agreement on that side. Vladimir Mestikov couldn't find it. Shot got solved by the big cat with the left goal stick. This is picked up now by Boston. Did they hold the line? They said they did with Lindholm. They'll fire into the screen, and Vasilevsky found it somehow. 18 minutes left in the third.
And I wonder if the Bruins are going to start putting up screens in front of Vasilevsky so that he can't see any of these pucks any easier. So I think that was the strategy that they put when Lindholm had that long shot from the deep point. And Vasilevsky found a way to stop that. So they're going to be forced to double shift their defenders now that McAvoy, he's going to be out for some time. I don't know if it's for the rest of the night, but they'll be forced to double shift and some guys. They'll have to put Lindholm right at the top pairing in slot right next to Grzelcyk, if that's the case.
Good call by you. We'll see, and we'll monitor the situation there by Charlie McAvoy. Steven Stamkos has showed on the Bally Sports Florida side. He got an assist tonight, so it's a 10-game point streak for the Stammer there, as he just recently got the goal number 500 among the active players. Pastrnak trying to keep this alive. And another century mark of it the other day was Nathan McKinnon with a 700 point. As a slap shot gets blocked. Pastrnak, great move, trying to set it up for Krejci. Whatever scores! Great job by the Boston Bruins. It's tied at 2.
The relentless forecheck by the Boston Bruins. They keep firing up at Vasilevsky. The first shot was blocked. Pastrnak puts on some moves on one of the defenders. David Krejci fighting Pavel Zacha. And the line full check forwards. Check forwards, yes, as Pastrnak made the initial move. Taking Mikhail, Sergachev, Steven Stamkos angles. I thought that was Sergachev at first, given that there was a number 9 right in front. And the check line right that one-timer from David Krejci. We are tied once again in this back-and-forth game in Tampa.
Wow, we've seen some gorgeous goals, Alec. Nothing better than to see David Pastrnak absolutely undress the defender, and then the patience from Krejci to get it over to Pavel Zacha. We talked about it. He has been in the middle of the slot all over this game. The patience for Krejci, one extra pass, and Pavel Zacha ties it back in two as it continues to go back and forth. We had just one goal in 2 periods. Now we got one on both sides, and now power move to the net again, and Omark is down. And we're going to get some more pushing and shoving there with Forbert and Colton as they start feeding some fists. And now we have big time holding near the right sideboards. Alec, this is getting interesting.
Oh, yeah, very much. This is getting interesting. And we got some blood from Ross Colton right from his nose after that pushing and shoving. So Colton was cutting to the net. Oh, I think he got a shoulder on Omar. Maybe there could be a penalty here against Colton. Yeah, that's goaltender interference. And yeah, the Bruins are taking exception to that, rightfully so. They're upset with the fact that Colton ran into Omar when Omar was trying to get a scoring chance on. As he beat up Charlie Coyle, trying to put the backhand on Omar. Yeah, that was a shoulder right to the head of Omar. And yeah, he's getting exported right to the penalty box. Forbert having some words for him. So this is the perfect opportunity for the Bruins to take the lead.
And Forbert, I just see the replay now. Hey, how are you doing? Here's a face wash and then a couple punches right in the nose of Ross Colton. So things are really starting to get spicy here. It was already on simmer. We're at full boil now, Alec, as there is just a host of blood on Ross Colton's jersey.
And we got Pat Maroon also in the penalty box for the Tampa Bay Lightning this early in the third period. I know the crowd is fired up by the physicality. The Bruins fans there as well who are watching this game, they're fired up too. Everyone's fired up. They want to see action. They want to see bloodshed between these two.
If you told me, like we said, we were going to do this game on Thursday and it was going to be this good, I think we'd both say we'd be lying to each other. This game has fit every kind of bill right now, and we're just waiting to sort everything out as players have plugs in the nose to get some of the blood. They're sitting in the box. Hopefully, Linus Ullmark, he's kind of shaking out some of the cobwebs in behind, and John Cooper is just having that nonchalant look that he does as he stares at the scoreboard.
Interesting stat here, but the Lightning are 5-0-0 when Brandon Hagel scores a power play goal. You see one of the linesmen having a war with John Cooper at the benches.
17:22 left to go in this third. The score is now tied at 2. It was a great setup in between Pastrnak, Krejci, and Pavel Zacha for the 1T. A glorious, glorious goal. After one that was just for Kucherov right off the face-off win in the offensive end. So 30 shots for the Bruins. We've hit that marker on that side, Alec, as you called it. Going to need 7 more for Tampa Bay as John Cooper is very irate about something, but I'm not a very good lip reader.
I think this was about the goaltender interference. Maybe I don't know what this was. I can't exactly see what he is saying based on his mouth movements. But nonetheless, it's a Bruins power play.
We have Pat Maroon in the box as well, so that's going to put the Bruins on the power play, and it's going to be a face-off win for Tampa. 0 for 1 is the Bruins on their power play with 1 shot, but I wouldn't put it past them to get one right now, especially after the move that Pastrnak had just made. He's going to try to get this one now. Is Charlie McAvoy. He's back out there. He's the one that just played the puck, so that is good to see. No worse for wear as McAvoy. Gets it here for Hall. McAvoy now make the extra pass across, and the Bruins will continue to hold and move this around. Taylor Hall eludes a check as this is picked up now by Pasta. This goes back to Taylor Hall and behind the office of the Big Cat and sent down the ice. So Linus Ullmark will play it. It's a minute 10 thereabouts left to go in the Boston power play. It's their second of the game. The score line is tied at dose. Charlie McAvoy trying to gain the entry, but it's offsides.
And good news that McAvoy is back on the ice. They really need him for this man advantage and for the rest of this game. This man, that was as that was a horrific collision right at the other end when he took that awkward spill on the ice from Nick Perbix in a puck battle. Good thing that he's back out there for the Bruins.
Yeah, again, he had nowhere to go to brace himself as he took a full blast, full speed into the right arm. Pastrnak gets this all the way across with the sauce for Marchand, tipped out of the air by Bergeron and stopped by Vasilevsky. As the Lightning now try to go the other way. It's a 2-on-1 and an opportunity for Hedman, and that one got whistled wide. That was a breakout opportunity, and now Bruins have a chance on the power play again. Pasta looking for the pass, try to find a chance for Krejci. They'll settle it down as David Pastrnak. Get this one to McAvoy, but no chance for him to hold in the zone. And this will go all the way back to Omar. We'll leave it in for Charlie and play it now. Charlie McAvoy. We'll get this one to Pavel Zacha, the latest goal scorer here for Boston. Give and go off the backhand. Zacha holding near the right dot. Now with Hampus Lindholm back to Pavel Zacha. They'll play crisscross. Lindholm taking his time now, walking that blue line. Set up for the one-timer for Pasta, and that pinball is all the way back across the red line. Lindholm. Now David Pastrnak. He'll just slapshot this around the inboards. Picked up now by Hampus as this goes back now for Pasta. Spun back around. He's going to hold it and turns it over. Tampa can race again. It's a 3-on-2 off the right side of the bar. Oh, my goodness. Now it's the other way. Here's a shot for Clifton. That got answered by Vasilevsky. Boy, oh boy, has this game been fun. Toward the right side of the wall, Hagel with a no-look. He lets it go. Allmark makes the save. And this goes all the way back down the other end. Brayden Point will settle it down as Connor Clifton blows a tire. Edmund needs to get out of the way of one of the forwards as this goes all the way back across the red line. Picked up now by Brayden Point, but he needs some reinforcements. Cross pass off the one-timer goes way wide across the left wall. As it's trying to get picked up by Kucherov, but this gets solved and picked up here by Trent Frederick. He gains the red line, gloved down momentarily by Tampa, and Zach Bogosian can settle this back down with the help of Hedman. It's Kucherov. Put it around the right side wall. Try to get picked up and left by Tampa near the right dot, looking for a deflection out in front. And Linus Ullmark makes the save with the right pad. Can't keep it in across the blue line, though, as it's Nick Perbix. He gains the red line, clears it in. Linus Ullmark will watch, but it's offside, I believe. 14:05.
Whoa, what a blown opportunity by the Lightning. Right after the penalty expired, Brandon Hagel with an opportunity to score second of the game. He beats Omar, but all he finds is iron. Hits the right post, and Ross Colton was right there looking for a possible rebound. The puck, unfortunately, doesn't get to him. Tough break for the Lightning, and this game remains tied.
I know it's a service level thing for me to say, but if that puck gets to anywhere near of a body, I don't think Ullmark gets all the way over, and Ross Colton probably has an open net to stuff the puck into, but instead it goes off the right side of the bar, and this game stays at 2-2. My goodness. 14 minutes left to go in the third, as Tampa will gain the entry. Now near the left side of the face-off dot. It's a battle for the puck right now, as Hampus Lindholm trying to find it gets turned over, as this gets flipped out by Vladimir Mestikov. Hagel trying to get a piece of it, and Vlastikov will put it in deep. Nick Perbix lost it there for a second as Hampus Lindholm plays this off the backhand, and this goes back to Vlad. We'll spin this back around in the same spot as Perbix will try to pinch there with Brayden Point. Vladimir Mestikov set up off the 1T for the teammates side, and that goes up and out of play for Sergachev.
We've seen a lot of action here from this third period. 2 goals in the opening 5 minutes. What more can you ask for here?
The only thing I can ask for, Alec, is overtime in a shootout. Yes, please.
Yeah, also hope for that. Give us some overtime. Give us a shootout.
This game has been absolutely excellent. I'm glad that we got a chance to do this one. I didn't necessarily circle this on the calendar, but when you try to go ahead and make the assignments for the week and you see the matchups that are potentially in front of you, sometimes they don't fit the bill, Alec, but this one is fit every single one that you can, as it's 2-2 with 13:30 left in the third.
There we have it. It's a 2-2 game. We can anticipate overtime here in this possible second round preview unless the Leafs win their first round series for the first time since 2004.
I got a couple comments here on the YouTube side, and they're agreeing with us, Alec, in the sense of they're both thinking OT, and they're enjoying this game. We appreciate you having you guys alongside. It's Alec and myself on the Twitter Spaces side. If you ever want any clear audio, you can fill in on the Twitter side if you have it on the phone app, but I appreciate you guys following along on the YouTube side. Is things will be a little chippy here, I imagine, for the rest of this game, but we'll see what goes on. As far as tomorrow, I don't know if I'm going to be able to be on the call between the Kraken and the Calgary Flames, but what did you have tomorrow again on deck, Alec?
I have the Maple Leafs and Senators, the Battle of Ontario.
Okay, so I want to get a double check on that time tomorrow. So you're going to have that one. That's going to be at 7 Eastern between the Sens and the Maple Leafs. So you can follow at that boy Yinzer Alec Nava on Twitter Spaces if you want to follow along between the Senators and the Maple Leafs. I imagine there's going to be some goals scored in that game. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that.
Yeah, I can imagine. And we'll see if Austin Matthews finds the back of the nets. William Nylander, Mitch Marner, those guys. And Marner, he had the overtime winner against the Rangers in the Leafs last game. So we'll see if that momentum carries on up.
In our game right now, it's 13:30 left to go in the third. And Boston wins the defensive zone draw. It's a 2-2 tie. A pair of goals in this third period after just having one in both periods for both teams. It's been back and forth all the way through. No give and take just yet. Charlie Coyle able to get the pass out ahead as Clifton gets it knocked away from him and picked up now by Tampa. Will take their time. It's Bogosian and Hedman, usual first line right now for John Cooper's squad, with 13 minutes left to go in this third. Try to gain the entry there. Derek Forbert will cancel it off. And picked up now by Frederick. Frederick going to take his time. Get this across the left side red line. He's going to be canceled off near the player's bench. He's just going to have to go for a change as this gets picked up now by Bogosian. And now to Victor Hedman. They'll play crisscross in their own end. As the forward's still getting ready for a change. This will go back to Victor Hedman now. His breakout pass. Pretty good one. As this goes off the stick of Kucherov, this gets centered out in front, but it couldn't find Brayden Point, but it's still busy in behind the opposite goal mark. McAvoy now with Point. Now Steven Stamkos as well, trying to pry this loose. They get the steal, fire it quickly in the catching glove as Olmark denies the chance.
That was a tough shot from Kucherov and an even tougher save by Linus Olmark, arguably, because Olmark, he makes that look easy. And Kucherov, that is not an easy shot to get away. That turnaround shot, and you fire it quickly once you have that open lane. Olmark with the stop.
Yeah, not to mention that was a difficult shot. And even the one right off the face-off, you got to be quick and decisive when he scored that one. So Nikita Kucherov, dangerous. Already got a goal in this game. He was looking for a second, just like Brandon Hagel. So picked up now in the defensive zone by Ian Cole. He'll just put this back to his defensive partner, but it's busy. Brad Marchand to get the turnover now with Taylor Hall. Puts it around the inboards with the right side of the blue line. Hampus Lindholm gets stick lifted nicely there by Alex Killorn. And we'll see if Tampa can go left to right. This will get picked off into the neutral zone and dumped down by Cirelli. He'll just slap shot this softly around the inboards and leave enough for Linus Olmark. This stays out as Boston gets a piece of it, almost collides there. Just Tampa with one of their own players as they're taking a change. And now the entry. Nick Perbix was open on the right wing side, but too much congestion there in the middle of the slot as David Krejci can't hold on to it. But Boston will go back in their own end. Steven Stamkos now on a 10-game point streak and a franchise record 11 straight wins for Tampa at home if they get this one tonight, but they got to do it against the Bruins. Toward the right wing side, this one missed. We took a crazy bounce up in the air, though. This stays with Pastrnak in the offensive zone for the Boston Bruins. Trying to keep this alive to the right side wall. Stamkos will just get it out. 10:55 left to go in the third. Joining her within the play-by-play, joined by Alec Nava. It's a 2-2 tie in between the Boston Bruins and the Tampa Bay Lightning. A lot of give and take in both of this game, and it's pretty much back and forth the whole way through. 32 shots for Boston and 26 for Tampa, as Tampa will get some full-sail forward line changes. Nemestikov makes this pass across, gets it now Tries to take the shot off a little toe drag. It got blocked. One of the Bruins got wiped out, lost their stick. And Foligno tries to get this across the red line. He'll collect it back. Nice little work there to stay with it. And this gets fired wide across the left side wall. Picked up now by Grizzly. Dangerous out in front off the right pad of Vasilevsky. Tried to get centered to the blue paint. And now picked up by Forbert. Boston, they have some possession now, and Tampa needs to get this out as we've hit the halfway marker of this third period, tied at dose. It's been an excellent game between Boston and Tampa. As this goes to Brad Marchand. Marchand in full flight, trying to deke in between his legs and kick the puck, but he got denied with the body check. And now this is a chance. Killorn will go ahead and gain the entry toward the right side wall, leave it for the partner here with Brandon Hagel. Set it up for the shot for Cirelli. That goes wide off the right side boards. Collected now by Tampa. Play a pass across here for Chernak. And the shot gets gloved out of the air by Ullmark. And we'll go to a commercial break.
Both teams have been fighting for possession throughout this third period, trying to get offensive opportunity after offensive opportunity on one another. In one of Tampa's chances, Connor Clifton gets the stick right in the way of one of the Tampa forwards. And I know Jim Montgomery has been pushing his guys to get the best out of them. We've seen this with guys like Trent Frederick. And if we see here from we mentioned Trent Frederick, Connor Clifton, he should be brought up there as well in that same category. He has the points there, but his defense has been taken to another level this year.
Yes, it has. In a game like this, Alec, I can tell you I would not want to be on the ice because you're going to need some ice packs. You're going to be feeling some bruises. I think both of these teams have given 110% effort, and that's the type of effort it takes to play these two teams. And again, we could say we know there's half the season left to go, but this contest to me certainly felt like a playoff game tonight so far. What say you?
This definitely feels like a playoff game given the atmosphere. You see an even split of Lightning fans and Bruins fans. So by the time playoff time comes and both these teams are in the playoffs, and if this potential second round series is in Tampa, you'd expect this crowd to be filled with Lightning fans throughout.
Yeah.
Some Bruins fans will be in attendance, bringing their own Bruins towels. So I can expect the Lightning to be loud for their team.
Absolutely, and one can only hope that these two teams be in the playoffs. Look, we understand that any playoff series in the East especially is going to draw a lot of eyeballs, especially for fans and non-fans alike, casual at that, because, these teams are good. But Boston and Tampa, there's just something about that I really enjoy. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, very much. If I see the Bruins at least match up in the second round, I think Steve Dangle will be a happy man if the Leafs win a playoff round. I mean, someone can look out for him for his sake, please, so he doesn't go utterly bonkers.
Yeah, if the Maple Leafs win a round, I think this guy might have a heart attack. So we'll have to make sure to see if he'll be okay and keep an eye on Steve because he does good work on the Sportsnet side as Boston goes offsides. He's been doing the Leafs fan reaction for years and years and years, and it'd be nice to see his team get out of the first round.
16 years strong by this point.
Yeah, that's a long time. So the road ahead for the Tampa Bay Lightning is the LA Kings before the stop on All-Star Weekend, and immediately back in the Battle of Florida with Matthew Tkachuk. Florida hasn't had the same type of season that they had before, but Matthew Tkachuk, boy oh boy, is he certainly putting up the numbers still. So back underneath the action now. We're past the halfway point. We are tied at 2. Good zone entry there by Tampa. As they'll pick it up now toward the right side face-off dot and try to center it out. And this gets stopped right out in front. It was Nick Paul with an opportunity. He got denied toward the left post.
Nick Paul right all alone in the slot trying to cut out in front as Zach Bogosian was right behind the net. And Paul all alone in that left circle. There was no Bruin right around him in that near area as Ross Colton was taking his end. And Bogosian usually holding the blue line. He finds Paul right in front. Craig Smith was the closest one to him, but he was right behind Paul on that opportunity. Linus Ullmark, good stop there to keep this tie.
Absolutely. As Boston will win the draw, Tampa will have to collect in their own end We've hit 8:45 left to go in this third. This has been a fantastic hockey game and a slate of good scheduled games all the way through the week. I guess I got lucky for once, as this is picked up now toward the left side red line and all the way down the ice. This will touch the glove hand of Ullmark.
So fortunately for the Lightning, this negates the possible icing in Kansas, and instead of having this in their own end, they will go to their attacking end for this face-off. And the Lightning, they're 18-0 and leading after the first period. The Bruins trying to end up their first loss in that category.
These are two teams that have very lofty numbers, as this is picked up off the draw there by Tampa and recollected now by Brandon Hagel. Shot goes wide across the left wall. As Taylor Hall will collect it now. He's busy, and behind the office is Alex Killorn's making life difficult, trying to get a chance there for Anthony Cirelli. Got a wonderful 200-foot game. Picked up now Chernak, and Ullmark going to make the save and hold on again, and Tampa going to get another offensive zone draw.
And one thing of note of Linus Ullmark is that he's been getting better throughout the years in terms of save percentage and record. Yesterday when he was on the Buffalo Sabres, and now that he's on the Boston Bruins, he's seen improvement by the years, including this historic record of 25-2-1.
25-2-1 in 30 games. It feels like he's a video game cheat code for a goaltender. That is almost hard to believe. I'm seeing a little pushing and shoving on our screen in between Brayden and Hagel getting face washed. I wonder how recent this was.
And Hagel, he has 36 penalty minutes so far entering this game. And if you're the Lightning, you do not want him in the box. It's the last thing you need, especially since he has the fourth most points on your team. He's been crucial to the team's success this year, and you do not want him on the box at a time like this.
No, we said that many times in through the playoffs and things like that between him and Cirelli. You need those guys that kind of play the 200-foot game, and they really provide that, especially with all the points. That's been very, very good for Brandon Hagel. You can definitely see why they got him from the Blackhawks during the trade deadline. As this is picked up, good job by, I believe that was one of the Boston Bruins. I think that was Frederick. I got a piece of the stick lift. I lost a number on that one. As this got deflected and picked up now by the Bees. They'll get this across the red line and get it down. As Tampa can reset now in their own end toward the right side of the faceoff dot. Gain the red line now. Kucherov tried to do a give and go pass, got flubbed on it, and that got cleared all the way down the ice. Another icing. 7:32 left to go in the third.
And all the chippiness, I think this is going to rise as the game goes on. We've seen some pushing and shoving right earlier. Brandon Hagel, he was getting a board with Brad Marchand. And I know Marchand, he likes to get under other players' skin. And he's the type of guy to be an agitator. You cannot take a retaliation penalty.
Absolutely not. And that's what he wants you to do, doesn't it? Brad Marchand's very, very good at that. This will be a face-off win by Tampa. They get an offensive zone draw, and through the screen, it was Belmar right in the office of Ullmark. And that got denied, I believe, with the shaft of the stick and an offside off the pass. 7:23 left to go, so there'll be a neutral zone draw upcoming. 2-2 is our score line. 7:23 in the third.
And I wonder if this puck would go in from the point had Namestnikov not got in the way to block his own man's shot. Probably just get out of the way just a little bit and have a stick cap on it. Possibly to break this deadlock, but who knows? That's only speculation by this point. But so far, he's the offensive zone. Here's the neutral zone draw.
Yeah, it's very difficult when you want to get those deflections. You got to be very careful about not blocking your own player's shot, but it's so very difficult to do. These guys are so good. Another icing, Alec. Boy, oh boy, we are getting that lottery number up higher. It's 7:16 in the third.
I mean, how many icings are we going to see here?
It's like 5 icings in about a minute 30 of action. So for all the frantic action that we've had, it's kind of slowed down a little bit. I think both these teams will probably take it, though. Still hasn't taken away from the intrigue of this game. Hopefully gets to pick up here again, though. So it is a chance for Stamkos to take an offensive zone draw. He's been more of the wing in this game. Kucherov will win this one back. So this goes to point from Hedman. Now Bogosian, let's go on the bomb. It's loose. Ullmark makes 2 saves. Everybody's down, but I believe he's got a hold of it.
And Zach Bogosian, he's usually not a goal scorer but he's up in his top pairing with Victor Hedman. He's earned it this year. Steven Stamkos was right in front of the sweet spot, trying to bank in the rebound. Linus Ullmark carefully patting away both those chances and then covering it up to keep this game deadlocked. And they're trying to get the tie-breaking goal here in Tampa.
Stamkos trying to win the draw again. It is cleared out by Boston momentarily, and a good job off of the back of the leg of one of the Bruins will actually get this one down deeper off of the stick lift. So picked up now by Vasilevsky. It's going to be Trent Frederick as the lone forechecker as Brayden point. We'll get this one off the give and go. Nice entry point, full flight. He could shoot if he wants to. Likes to pass. Ullmark's now the Bruins fall into each other, and the puck somehow goes in the back of the net, and I'm not sure how, Alec.
Wow! That pass went wide of his intended man from Brayden point. It was a 2-on-1, and they couldn't get the shot up. Linus Ullmark had his stick knocked away from him. I don't know who knocked it away. See here, Brayden point 2-on-1, and then Stamkos ain't going to get the shot up. And then there was, oh my goodness, let's see. So let me see this again. A 2-on-1, it went right between the legs. Oh, that was one of the Bruins that knocked his stick away. Brandon Carlo, he ran into Ullmark himself. So that's not going to be goalie interference. This goal's going to count. It's 3-2 Lightning.
Man, Victor Hedman probably was the only one in the building that saw that he had the puck and able to shoot that right away. As you said, the Boston Bruins ran into each other and knocked Ullmark off course without a goal stick. Hedman saw it the whole way, fired it into the net. And honestly, I'm still baffled how he did that so quickly, but it's a 3-2 lead now for the Lightning. Would this be the final momentum swing that they need? They get a franchise record, 11 straight wins at home. For as good as Tampa has been, it's hard to believe that it's still only that was a franchise record, as a backhand is stopped by Ullmark, and Alex Killorn got denied in tight.
And that could have been 4-2 if that went in. That was dangerous from Alex Killorn. He was all alone in slot trying to put in that backhand. And that was not some innocent looking play. He was right at the slot, that sweet spot, getting right to center, trying to bury the backhand to get this a 2-goal game for the first time all night long. 6:02 left in regulation. Neither team has held a 2-goal lead throughout this game. The Bruins trying to get the tie goal once again.
And what did you just say in the previous play about Brandon Hagel, about how you have to have him on the ice? He was all over Charlie McAvoy to force that turnover to get Killorn in the middle of the slot and get an opportunity off the backhand. Can the Bruins respond? 5:45 left to go thereabouts in the third. Shot on, and that one stopped off the left pad by Vasilevsky. Bruins keep this in. Foligno trying to get back to it. Good job by Kucherov to push this out. Bruins have to check back up now. Pavel Zacha gets worked toward the left side of the wall. Tampa trying to come together. There's some serious cross checks going on. And Nick Perbix will come away with this now for Brayden point. Stamkos will just flip it down. Kucherov and Sergachev trying to win some battles as this goes back now for the Boston Bruins. Gain it toward the left side wall. Big elbow in the mouth. Pastrnak was able to deliver it. 5:05 left to go in the third. Tampa now up by 1, courtesy of Victor Hedman. Shot into the screen and grabbed and held by Vasilevsky as we go to break.
And that goal by Victor Hedman, if that puck had eyes, I think that puck really had eyes when it was going to the back of the net.
That's the only thing that I can possibly say, Alec, is it had to. Because, okay, let's just say for a second, we know that Victor Hedman can see it. I mean, that play happened in a split second where Ullmark, if you waited maybe another half a beat, he'd have time to get up and maybe make a save. But Victor Hedman had to possibly almost no-look that shot and fire it on net and beat it to go in. So that's an incredibly, I'm not going to say lucky goal, but very heady play by Victor Hedman to give the Lightning a 3-2 lead. That was incredible.
We'll see how the Bruins respond here. Down 3-2. The Bird Tiger trailing in this game. They have not had a lead throughout this match. We'll see if they can force an overtime in the waiting stages of regulation. And this is going to be for an interesting finish. especially behind the goaltending of Linus Ullmark and the play of David Pastrnak, Brad Marchand, David Krejci, Patrice Bergeron, Taylor Hall. You need those guys to step up in the clutch. And I wonder if the Bruins are going to start double shifting guys late in regulation.
Yes.
And I wonder when Ullmark is going to get pulled for the extra attacker.
Absolutely double shift immediately. That's my call. You probably did. It's 5:34 now. I'd say when it gets to the 4-minute marker, that's when you start to do that. You also got the timeout to use for the netminder pool. The Pens and the Caps are going to OT, so both of those teams will pick up a point on my last check with 4:09.
And with Marcus Johansson and Brian Rush scoring for each of their teams, Johansson got a 5:17 in the third period from Nick Backstrom and Sonny Milano. Brian Rush from Jake Gensel and Sid who's not the kid Crosby.
He's not the kid anymore because he's the same age as me, 35 years old, but he still plays like one of the best in the league. Looking at Brayden Point on screen, 2 assists, a shot on goal, 2 takeaways, about 14-15 of total time on ice. Another typical good game for Brayden Point, just like you would expect for all these forwards right now. Does Boston have another goal in them? Linus Ullmark, we talked about his goals against average. He's given up 3 in this game, although I wouldn't necessarily put all of them on him, but still, that's more than you would expect. But Tampa is just that kind of team. So a defensive zone faceoff win, but this just gets put in toward the left side of the boards, and Boston was able to actually almost get to this as we've hit the 4:50 marker of the third. Picked up now by Grizzly, and now Pavel Zacha gains the entry as Tampa will get this out. Charlie McAvoy will go all the way back into the neutral zone. And Boston just trying to get settled here as it's McAvoy. Make the pass across a crowded right side of the wall. As this finds Grizzly, he'll fire. This is behind Vasilevsky, but he found it in amongst the redwood trees.
And Grizzly coming up all alone at the left circle before a Lightning defender was able to get in the way. Andre Vasilevsky got the glove on there in time. And I think this goes through traffic. Mikhail Sergachev was trying to put a screen on there and try to block the shot. But it's Vasilevsky grabbing that one and stopping Grizzly. He had the winner against Toronto with 1:15 left in regulation. To not have that go to overtime, and that could have been the tying goal if it just went through traffic a little more and Vasilevsky couldn't see things very clearly.
Yeah, and he also had to get around Steven Stamkos that was stuck in no man's land as Ian Cole wins this. Alex Killorn takes a tumble, and now this goes to Connor Clifton, but Hagel will touch off sides. 4:18 in the third.
So we're coming close to that 4-minute mark, and as you mentioned, you start double shifting guys right around that point if you're the Bruins to try and get the equalizer. If I'm Tampa, I would have to put the shutdown line there to try and hold them off. Get your best defensive forwards out there if you're the Lightning to shut them down. So I get Anthony Cirelli out there, Nick Paul as well.
Anthony Cirelli, Nick Paul, Hagel, those are the type of pieces you would need. Good call on that side. Kucherov's got points in 22 of 24 home games. Tampa trying to win 11 straight at Amalie. That'd be a franchise record. It's very hard to believe considering how good that they've been, but 11 wins at home in a row is a lot. This is picked up now by Ullmark, but it's turned over. Tampa's got more possession. They can kill some more time. Instead, look for a long shot, and that got solved by Ullmark with 3:59 in the third.
There was no deflection on that shot as well. This was a long shot from the deep left point. Linus Ullmark turning that away with ease. You got to look out for every shot, no matter how near, how far, no matter how hard or how slow moving it is.
Absolutely. You got to be attentive at this point. You got 4 minutes left to go in the third. It's 37 shots to 34. Alex said we're going to get to the 30 marker before this is done. Well, we're over it now. It's 3-2 lead for the Tampa Bay Lightning. The latest goal was Victor Hedman. Vlad Nemestikov will get this a little bit out in front here for Tampa as they'll get some puck possession. Boston just falling all over themselves, and the defensive end toward the left side of the blue line is just trying to get a couple of stick battles. Matt Grizzlick stuck up there as well. This will go to Tampa. They'll play this off the boards at the right wall, kept alive by Sergachev, and they'll send it down deep. Here's a chance for Point and Hagel as they'll try to do some work Here's a chance now for Belmar as he's trying to pry it loose. Vladimir Mastakov gets knocked down. So this is really good for John Cooper's squad right now. You got the third line killing some time, and you can get back to go to your first line and keep them more fresh. As this goes now back to the defense of Victor Hedman. Picked up by Belmar. Pierre-Emile Belmar out there with Corey Perry. A little bit of the sandpaper line as we get to the 3-minute marker of the third. Zacha gets worked off the puck into the neutral zone as this goes back to the Bees. They got 2:55 left to work with in which to score a goal to try to force OT. It would be a rare loss for Boston no matter which way you look at it, for as good as Tampa is. This is back in between the office, collected now by the captain, Steven Stamkos. Here's a chance for point. He's trying to beat two defenders. He does. Cross pass for Stamkos, denied by Omar. Save the game at this point. And now picked up by Kucherov as this is put back down. He just broke right through. And now Kucherov almost gets the steal and behind with the help of Stamkos as this is picked up now by McAvoy. Boston really needs to settle this down right now. They got to go on the other end. Pittsburgh and Washington going to a shootout at 2-2 as you see in my last check. And this is picked up now by Hedman. Hedman will wire this across, but he turns it over. D to D side, right blue line side here. McAvoy lets the bomb go. Beautiful block by Tampa. The empty net is out there for Ullmark. He left the goal cage. It's 6-on-5. Boston gains the entry across the red line. 1:45 left to go in this third. Flipped ahead. And hand pass. 1:43 that stops play.
When we look back at that last stop by Linus Ullmark, wow, that was clutch. Steven Stamkos right at the slot, receiving the feed. Ullmark got there in time, turning it away with a pad. He stopped Stamkos from getting the game-sealing goal. And maybe Tim Montgomery is going to use his timeout here. 1:43 left. Ullmark is right at the bench. So I think Montgomery is going to use his timeout and get his players a breather. I think he will use his timeout here.
I think you have to. That's a good call by you on that side. 37 shots, 35. Tampa's got the edge on the score. Kyromer. It matters. 3-2. As John Cooper continues to look on his team 1:43 away from a decisive victory, a franchise record home streak, and a rare loss for the Boston Bruins. Get this. If they lose tonight, they would be 38-6-4. It would just be their sixth regulation loss, their sixth game in which they do not pick up a point that the result holds for 1:43. So these fans, however much they paid for their tickets, Alec, they've got their money's worth.
Yeah, very much. They got their money's worth of action here at Amalie Arena tonight. And some good news for your Red Wings. You guys got the overtime winner over the Montreal Canadiens, Robbie Fabry from Michael Rasmussen and Moritz Seider for the OT winner.
I'll take some good news where I can get it. There's not a lot of victories to come by, so I appreciate that, my friend. 1:35 left to go in this third. This is a very good contest between these two, but Boston needs a goal right now. Hampus Lindholm plays the crisscross to Pasta. Lindholm gets it back. Pasta in the same spot near the right side blue line. Very patient for Marchand. Will fire the wrister. Pastrnak lets the one-timer go off the rebound. And that got saved by the Big Cat. Fired in deep. Big Cat holding on at left post. A battle near the left side red line as players are sandwiched all amongst themselves right now. Looks like a Klondike bar out there. This is picked up now by McAvoy as that got wristed back down. A minute left to go. This will not go back into the empty net. So Boston got an opportunity fresh off that timeout from Jim Montgomery to go ahead and try to double shift as much as they can. It's Marchand Hall out there right now. It's loose toward the right side. Dot cross pass, but couldn't find Taylor Hall. Tampa desperate to get this out right now. It's Vladimir Mastakov trying to get a piece of it. Tampa trying to flutter it. It stays in. Pasta, patient, good diving shot blocked by Brayden Hagel as he bought some more time, but it's still live. Lindholm gets this back to Pastrnak. Now Lindholm holding. We'll get it across. Take the time. Zacha, get this now as Boston continues to hold, but the time is running out. They need to get a shot. This is toward the right side of the bar, down to 10 seconds. Fire it right on into the traffic, but a diving shot block keeps it in. Down to 5. Boston got to hurry. One-timer. Pastrnak shot can't be solved. It's blocked. And that's it. Tampa wins 3-2. What a game we had, Alec.
And now that's 11 straight at home for the Lightning. That ties the franchise record for most consecutive wins at home. They have done it.
What a contest this was between the Tampa Bay Lightning. As Alex said, 11 straight home wins, ties a franchise record, gives Boston just their 6th loss in regulation. They are 38-6-4. Tampa is 31-15-1. So the beasts of the East, Alec, have proven it. Cooper, you joined us at a great time, as this was a fantastic game in between these two.
Yep, and you saw that one right if you watched the game right on ESPN Plus, or if you're listening to you're tuning into the Valley Sports Sun feed or the New England Sports Network feed, if you're down in Tampa or Boston or up in the Boston areas, and that makes the Bruins the last team to have double-digit losses all season, regulation, overtime, and shootout combined.
Just their 6th game in which they do not pick up points. Victor Hedman's goal from the 13-19 marker, that came from some incidental contact, I would say, between the Boston Bruins. But Victor Hedman, he just picked this up toward the left circle, fired it right on, and gave Tampa the lead, in which they held on. And it's a rare marker where Linus Ullmark, again, .914 save percentage, very good. But he was blemished 3 times. And that is something that you don't normally say. But the Big Cat, man, he was excellent there, Alec. 37 out of 39. The very same numbers that we're used to for Vasilevsky as he outduels Ullmark tonight.
Yep, and you mentioned Vasilevsky outdoing Ullmark. That's just Ullmark's 3rd regulation loss of the season. It was been an amazing season for him. I know he's gonna bounce back from this, but this is a game where one of the teams that the better team had to win. The team that outworked the other team that had to win. It's one of those games.
Yeah, so this really felt like a playoff contest. We were glad to have anyone else that joined us on that side. I know Cooper was listening in on it. So tomorrow, I know Cooper's listening in. I'll have to figure out and send him a message or whether or not I will be able to cover Calgary and Seattle. We'll see where that goes. That might be a game time decision on that side, but if not, I will come back toward the next week's side and we'll definitely get back on the broadcast. So I'm going to get the heck on out of here and get the game story and everything else all squared away. Thanks, Alec, for providing the color here tonight, and I'll catch up with you soon, too.
Thank you for having me, John.
All right, sounds good. We'll see you guys.
Good night, everyone.
transition that he maybe needed to make the adjustment, and it looks like he started to make that.
Let's talk about Chris Tanev. Like everybody in this building is talking about Chris Tanev. I don't know if it's a positive or not, but the reality is his break couldn't come at a better time, and they certainly miss him. But it's an opportunity, isn't it, Eric?
Yeah, it's an opportunity for the other 5 guys, and we'll talk a little bit about how they fared so far in this game. But 1 win in 8 games without Chris Tanev. You don't even need a stat like that. Just think back to the playoffs last year when the first 2 games of that series, the Calgary Flames were an absolute mess, and he came back and played with a shoulder that was popping in and out, and he couldn't really help him that much at that point.
Hey, I appreciate a Looney on that side. Yeah, Grayson says, let's go Red Wings. Yeah, they end up actually getting the OT winner on that side, so that was good news for me. sad the Bruins didn't take the win. I understand that, Lenny, on that side, but again, it's only 6 regulation losses for them. Hopefully, they get more games like these because that was great theater, and I appreciate it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the game tomorrow with Cooper Hopkins between Calgary and Seattle. If we can, I will send him another message and let him know. But routinely get all these ones done and figure that out when we go along. So I appreciate it, and we will catch up soon because I do these streams quite often. Cracking all day. See, I will say this before I sign off because you're still in here right now. In the sense of I asked him because he's from Seattle, my broadcast partner Cooper Hopkins. Normally it's Alec Nava today, but when I work with Cooper, he's from Seattle. Calgary Flames is his team. But I asked him because he's right at the shop. I said, "Can you snag me one of those Matty Beniers?" So I actually do have a Matty Beniers jersey. I do wear that during the Seattle streams because it's nice for the U of M product. Maybe someday captain of the Seattle Kraken, but the All-Star for Seattle. So I enjoy that. So maybe I'll be on tomorrow night, but if not, maybe this weekend will be a basketball son. Talk to you guys later. See you.